Peekaboo. Good morning. Also, Himiko, congrats on first. I see you grabbed it and ran. Good morning, everybody. Guess what I have? I have appy juice. I found apple juice. Oh, I didn't find it. I knew where it was, but like, I grabbed it. I grabbed the appy juice. Yeah. Also, hi, Meowski. Oh, do I played violin? Hello, Kojiro. And no, I did not. Also, I tried to say wed building World's Day like 5 times, and I got it wrong every time, Blip. Also, hello, Usagi. Yes, it's World Building Wednesday. I'm gonna boop my cat Jempto for good luck. Hello, Himiko. And hello, Meowski. The eek eek. I can see you're enjoying the new emotes, because I do have follower emotes now. The animated versions of them are for subs, but followers now have emotes. They can also make the little bat heart, which I think is adorable. But no, I do not play the violin. Why do you ask, Kojiro? I am very curious. Oh goodness, hiccup. But I'm gonna eat? Yes, we eat apple juice. I'm going to chew my apple juice. A big bat brain. Eek, eek. My brain's not that big. It's just average. Average at best. Probably because of the art. My art doesn't make my brain big. Contrary to popular belief, art does not make your brain big. Let me grab my tablet here. But yeah, as you can probably see from the title, I have spent so much time... No, the violin thing. Oh. Oh, the art that you made. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, that's a fan piece that Himiko made for me, Kojiro. I don't personally play violin, but they made that for me, and I loved it. So I put it up. Oh. Yee-boy. My cat is bright and early deciding to cause issues, but it's fine. But yeah, I spent so much time working on races, cultures of said races. Oh, okay, one culture for the race, but a culture example, and then clothing. Blip. Hi, Blip. You made my voice crack. What the hell? I have to watch my apple juice. 66 bits until next badge. Nice. Oh, that reminds me. What would you guys want to see for badges? Because I have no fucking clue what to make for, not badges, emotes. Bit emotes. I don't know what to do. I was thinking of... my cat. Oh, nope, there it goes. He's knocking everything off the desk. Bit emotes should be pastries? Oh, wait, that'd be really cute. Jewels? Jewels? How? Try these. Oh, okay. My cat played, can Jenga and he lost. Anyway. But yeah, I would love to know, biscuits, cookies, turnovers. That'd be cute. I was also thinking of doing, like, the top half of a teapot and having a little bat poking out of the top, like, hello. That could be, like, one of the highest ones, though, if that's the case. If people want, biscuits and cookies. I'd say we could make, like, what are those? Macarons? I could make macarons be a bit redeem. Not a redeem, a bit emote. And maybe a teacup? Where people are setting themselves up to drink tea and have cake. Because, fun fact, the cafe does not primarily sell tea. We also sell coffee, so it could be coffee, for all you know. Cupcakes? Aw, cupcakes with toppings would be cute. Also, have a good lurk, Himiko and Meowski. But yeah, I have to give it some thought. Because I noticed I have... I have a lot of space for emotes, and I just am strapped for ideas. Other than just adding more emotions of me, which will just go to first tier sub anyway, Pick your poison. Ah. Standing crunches. That's my poison. I will have to get a stretch in real quick, though. Ah. I don't know if you heard that, but those are my fingers. Ugh. I remember free stretch with every workout routine because I don't want to fuck myself up. Ugh. Alright, have a good day at work, Blippi. Thank you for being your little chaotic self. Okay. And you wanted Eekums? Crunches? That doesn't roll off the tongue like the others. Squumptious? Are we calling them squunches? Leon looked at me and just went, squunches. Like a cutie pie. Alright. Stretch my legs. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Crunches are fun, but good lord. They hurt my core. Alright, we're good. Now let me grab my blanket. Get back into the comfy, cozy vibe. Don't mind the yawn. I'm also gonna steal an illegal sip, don't worry about it. But it's a good thing to just cool off and get a drink after you work out. So, drink for me. Whew. But yeah, I've spent a lot of time working on races and all their aspects, but where are we gonna put them? So I decided to brush up on my geography, my planetary everything, and I'm deciding to show you guys how I go about world building. Now, last week, Monday specifically, you guys actually got to see me do this a little bit. I pulled up a website called Incarnate, and using it, I made a world map. But today, I'm going to be pulling it out and making a brand new world from scratch for this segment. Because the world that the Trakovish are from has already been made, and I'd like to crunch down what exactly went into the process of making this planet in more detail. Now, I kind of turned it into a world-building lesson Monday, but for those of you who weren't there or weren't expecting a world-building Wednesday lesson, I'm going to reiterate what I said that Monday, but I'm going to extrapolate on it. So you guys are going to get a better understanding of my process, as well as how to make your own if you want to make it the same or a bit different. Alright, so let's hop over there. Woulda, boop! Here we are. Alright. I've yawned a few times, so let's just enter those. So, first things first, what do I want to accomplish with my planet? That's what you have to ask yourself when creating pretty much anything when it comes to world building. There we go. But let's say I'm making... First, let's get a new... It's not loading. Oh, there it goes. Whew. Alright, so we're gonna grab a brand new canvas here. There we go. Let's turn that down so it's not as bright. I don't like how bright a white background is. It truly burns the retinas. At least it hurts my eyes a bit. I can't do it. Hello, Pinguina-chan! How are you doing? I'm doing good, by the way. I'm gonna keep it classy today. Nice. I did notice you just said friend, and I appreciate that. But I'm good. I'm getting over sleepy bad hours, and we are, in effect, building a world today. It's an aspect of world building. We're making a planet. So, first things first. Like I said, what are we making this planet for? If it is for a fantasy world setting, like a world you're making for narrative purposes, like a book or a story, a comic, whatever your fancy is, you don't have to worry too much about some of the details unless you're going to be showing wide shots of the planet. Like, let's say you're making a sci-fi setting and it's a web comic, and you're like, okay, I want to show off the planets that these characters like visit, or these characters from. Uh, I have a scratch on my face. When and where? Whatever. I I think Cecil might have done something. How I am right now, I'm in the liquid state. Not sure when I'll turn solid again. Well, let's hope you turn solid before you evaporate. Because I like talking to you. You're cool. I would miss you. I think I'd miss all of you. I actually get kind of sad when I notice certain people aren't coming around anymore. And I'm like, oh, I hope they're doing okay. It's not a sadness of, oh no, I'm losing viewers. More of just, oh, I miss that person. Managed to convince a friend of mine to play V Rising. Nice. I'm actually looking into that. Once I complete a few other games, I'm probably gonna pick it up. I do have it on my watch list, because I do have a lot of games that I've started and would like to complete before picking up a new one. I actually just beat Slime Rancher yesterday, so that's one more completed game under my belt. I'm about to build my own Gothic castle. Nice. I would see that. God, I want to play it now. Shit. Temptation, stop me. Anyway. But yeah. I'm going to work on the planet from the literal ground up. We're going to figure out sizes, axle tilt, geography, biomes, atmospheres. Now, I know that all sounds like a lot, but we could cover it all pretty quickly. It's not as hard as I make it sound like. So, I don't have any lined paper here, but I don't think it matters. So the first aspect to making your own planet is figuring out how large it's going to be, especially, like I said, if you're going to be seeing it, like, at an aerial view, like from an observatory standpoint, like how we see our Earth via Google Earth. If you're going to be showing off your planet in an illustrative setting, you're going to need to know how big it is and what it looks like, especially compared to the other celestial bodies that it hangs with, essentially. You know, your Mercuries, your Venuses, your Mars, all of that good stuff. So, the understanding of how to make a planet is you need three things. You need to know its mass. That is how dense the planet is compared to its size. You need to know its radius. That's pretty much how wide it is around its equator. Let me clean that up. And you need to know its gravity. Now, all of these play into it. All of these play into the actual design of the look of the planet, terrestrial speaking. Because you're not going to be able to live, not comfortably going to be able to live on a planet that simulates Jupiter's atmosphere. Because Jupiter is something called a gaseous giant. We all know, I'm sure we all know at least, very early science classes where we learned the difference between terrestrial planets and gas giants, ice planets, all of that good stuff. Planets typically come in two forms, some possibly being a third, but it will usually go as hard rocks, which is like Mercury, Mars, Venus, and Earth, and then you can have your gaseous planets that are usually a lot bigger in the solar system, like Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and then you can have something like Pluto, where it's like a planetoid. Cecil, what are you scratching, sir? That was... Cecil, get down, little one. I hear him clawing at the glass frame of our window. It's like, sir! But yeah, people can't really live comfortably on a gaseous planet. Because one, there's no surface to sit on, and two, they would have to be extremely technologically developed in order to actually have machines capable of, one, riding that atmosphere, and two, keeping them safe from it. Because screw that. So, for the sake of making a planet, we're going to assume that this is a sci-fi / fantasy setting where your planet is relatively close to Earth that can inhabit life that Earth has. Oh, there we go. Because, for the most part, I've been creating humanoid races, and I'm going to continue to make humanoid races, and terrestrial-inspired races, like, I don't know, like an insectoid race, or a bunny race, you know, like, races that you will see evolved from natural terrestrial creatures. So, as such, our planet is going to be terrestrial in nature. Now, the mass itself for the actual planet can... Actually, let's do this. So, for the numbers that I'm going to be putting down, they are comparative to Earth. Earth is going to be the default, and it's going to be counted as 1. So let's say Earth's gravity is 1.0, their radius is 1.0, and Earth's mass is 1.0. It's all going to be the default. Like this. Now, I'm going to make our new planet, and I want it pretty close to Earth. Maybe we'll make it a bit bigger, though. Maybe I want the planet to be a little bigger. What, Kippy? Now, typically, if you want to make a planet either bigger or smaller, you can follow these guidelines, which... Oh, look. Typically, you can have a mass of pretty much 0.1, 0.1 or 0.2, depending on who you ask, up to 3.5. Kibby. So let's write this down a little better. Make sure my handwriting isn't complete trash. My handwriting is still complete trash. I wasn't paid to write hand good, okay? There we go, that looks nice. So, typically you can have this kind of parameter. Here, let's do this. These are parameters that we can stay in. Your radius, I believe, can be about 0.5. So it can be, you know, half the radius of Earth. And it can go up to 1.5. To keep it a comfortable size for a terrestrial planet, at least. That's what we're looking at, basically. And gravity can be anywhere from 0.4 to 1.6. So, piss off. Stop it. He keeps clawing my chair. He's very rambunctious today. There we go. Actually, let me scoot this up. There we go. So these are our parameters to make it comfortable for terrestrial life to live on. So that means you could have a planet, if you want it bigger at least, you could have a planet be a mass of, let's say 1.8. Why are you doing math? I'm sorry, Coralia. I'm not doing math. I'm going over... I'm going over how to make a new planet, but with comfortable numbers to still hold and support terrestrial life. I promise I'm not doing math. I will have to be doing math soon a little bit. Because we're world building, get it? Sounds like math to me. I guess. It's just numbers. It's baby math. I'm gonna drink my Epi juice. Ow. Which Epi juice does not count as a redeem. It is my own personal sippy. Sippy time is for water only. If that's baby math, I am an embryo. I'm assuming it's... I haven't even added or subtracted anything. Coralia, I haven't even done math. I haven't done any equations. So, because you just came in, I can give you a quick little understanding of what I'm doing here. This is our... Ow, cat! This is our planet's mass. We're going to consider it a 1. Because Earth is going to be our default for everything. Because it's literally our only reference point as far as being human goes. So, Earth's default is 1. So, Earth's mass is 1. Earth's radius is 1. Earth's gravity is 1. And we can live in conditions like this. We can live on a planet that has up to 3.5% of mass of that of Earth's planet. And we can live on a planet with a radius of 1.5 compared to Earth's. And we can live in gravity up to 1.6 compared to Earth's. So we can actually have 50% more gravitational pressure pushing on us, roughly, give or take, without really suffering the consequences. Yes, we'll feel a bit heavier because gravity is pulling on us harder, but that's what that all means, Coralia. So you can see I haven't technically been doing math. I've just been putting down numbers. Tee-hee. But now, I'm making a new planet, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm already confused, thanks. I'm not trying to confuse. Basically, here's our Earth. Look how cute it is. Here's a little Earth. Mass has to do with how heavy it is, pretty much, and how much it's not heavy, how much it's got in it. Which can also mean how big it is. And radius has to do with how wide and tall it is, like how big the circle is. Or the sphere, I guess, because we're on a sphere. And gravity has to do with how much pressure is being pushed on us. So, this is going to help if you want to do this kind of stuff as a world builder. Because I know, like I said, sci-fi loves this shit. Sci-fi loves to have their numbers and their science backing up every little thing they do. You need hard and stringent rules when it comes to sci-fi. They're very, especially the fans, they're rabid about that stuff. But in fantasy, you can kind of get away with a bit more. You can just chalk it up to, oh, magic. Why is it shaped like that? Magic did it. It's a lot easier to wipe away, but with sci-fi, for some reason, people are a lot more critical. Because they're expecting the science to be pretty well backed up. Reminds me of my painful fanfic planning doc. Oh no. I'm sure it was lovely, though. I'm sure it was very lovely. Coralia. Pet pet. I have 3 Google Docs of just research. Oh, damn. That's a lot of research. I don't want to ask how many pages that was. I'm spooked. Oh, Kibby. My cat is yelling. Anyway. My new planet's mass, I want to have 1.8, so it's going to be almost twice as much as Earth. Non-lethal edition. Ah, oh, good. Fanfic. Scientifically accurate Hanahaki. Hanahaki. What's Hanahaki? I know specific brain chemicals cause of it. Oh, nice. That's actually... Sometimes you just gotta look up body chemicals to figure shit out. So you have unrequited love? Or unrequired? You grow flowers in your lungs. Oh, stupid. It's okay. It's okay, Coralia. I understood, but then I second-guessed myself. Alrighty. So, yeah, I want mass to be at 1.8. I want my radius. Let's say the planet's a little bigger than Earth as well. I'm not gonna make it 1.5. I'll make it... Let's say it's 1.3. Yeah, not quite as big as uninhabitable, of course. And I can figure out gravity at a later time. So this is how big I want my planet, which means, let's say here's Earth with the mass and radius. The planet, it's the new planet. Let's draw a circle here. Come here, you. So with a mass of 1.3, it's going to expand. Huh. Both circles match each other for the most part. I don't know how I did that. So, let's see. Hi, Cecil. So our planet's going to be a bit bigger, roughly in concordance with Earth, like that. And because it has more mass, and because it has a bit more of a radius, meaning it is a bigger planet, the gravity is probably going to be a little heavier as well. Because the bigger and heavier the planet, the higher the gravity. Ow. That snuck up on me. What, Gibby? Alrighty. So this means that this planet, because it's terrestrial, and because of its mass, it means that its core, its mass is actually much larger in tandem with its radius. Because, like I said, Earth is 1-to-1, 1 mass, 1 radius, but if we have 1.8 mass to 1.3 radius, that's a bigger number. So that means the planet is denser, meaning it's got a lot more iron in its core. Because I'm sure we all know what a planet looks like. I'm sure we've seen those diagrams where it shows off the planet and it's like, here's the crust, and here's the iron, the core, and then here's the spinning iron magma and all that good stuff inside. That means the iron core in this planet is probably a bit bigger. It's a little thicker. And let's make the gravity 1.3 as well. Alright, so we have our planet. It's gonna be big, it's gonna be thick. We're gonna have it sit here. And our little planet can chill here. So, like every other terrestrial planet that's in this zone of mass to radius, it's going to be comprised a lot of iron and silicates. That means it's going to have a lot of elements that we find on our planet. So essentially, like I said, I'm just going over essentially how to make a terrestrial planet. When you have requited love, you have serotonin, dopamine, I can't read that word. And oxytocin. In the scientific Hanahaki I'm doing, it's a research or a genetic thing, so I had to bust out the Punnett square, and I identified through a shit ton of semi-reliable research papers that unrequited love replaces phenethylamine with norepinephrine. Most of someone was a flat earther, isn't here? If you're a flat earther and you're in here, first of all, how'd you find me? Second of all, why are you following me? Do you know who I am? And also, I would actually have a lot of fun talking with them because I've thought of ideas of how people could justify flat Earth through a like story. So, what if someone made a story about, you know, oh no, the Earth is flat? Because fun fact, when flat earthers say that they believe in the flat Earth, they don't just picture the Earth looking like a how we see it on a map. They picture it with the North Pole here in the center, and then like the squished flat Earth wrapping around it. And then they say Antarctica is our border. It's the border to our bowl, basically. And there's Antarctica. And the reason they have this idea, and then here's our continents or whatever. But the reason they say that is because Antarctica actually is a lot higher than our water level. It's actually extremely high in terms of elevation. So they consider it like just a giant ice wall. But what if it was really cool if a flat Earth, quote unquote, did exist, but on a giant ass planet? Like, let's say here's that giant planet, or like a giant artificial planet that acts as like a zoo. And then like maybe here's where we're located on a dome, and then like there's others everywhere dotting this planet of like other quote unquote flat Earths. I think that'd be cool. In the story narrative that I thought of, technically there is more land past Antarctica, but I think there'd just be other domes. Because if flat Earth was a thing, we would totally be just monkeys in a zoo. That's all it would be. It's caused discord in the community. Like, honestly, it's a cool fucking idea, narratively speaking. Now, is it true? Fucking no. But is it cool for a narrative? Is it cool for a story? Yes. That's why I love reading on pretty much anything and everything, because even if it's a conspiracy theory or it's fringe science, someone somewhere can go, hey, that's a cool fucking story. Like, a flat Earth as a story? Hell yeah, that's fucking cool. Because, like, maybe we're in this big atmosphere dome, we have artificial lights set up of a moon and a sun. It'd be so cool. I've seen some people say that people do fall off the edge of Earth and picture the flat Earth as a map. Once again, causing discord in the community. People are cracked. Nah, it's not about flat Earth. It's about donut Earth. We live on a donut. But yeah, narratively speaking, flat Earth is really cool. A really cool concept you could run with. I know that's what Terry Pratchett did. I believe his Earth is kind of a flat Earth, and it's on a giant turtle's back. I also know Tolkien did that. Tolkien made the Earth a flat Earth, because Middle Earth is actually a ball. It was separated from the entire realm, which is flat, and folded in on itself to contain everything, which is why elves are the only reasons they can leave it, because they've made something called straight boats or flat boats, where they can basically get off of the Middle Earth curvature and onto that flat plane. It's really cool. But, you know, it's realistically, it doesn't make sense. But like I said, narratively, go for it. Run with it. It is really cool. Sounds wild. Yeah, it's really cool. Alright, enough about flat Earth. Get out of here. Yeah, imagine flat Earth is real, and we're all on a giant slave exoplanet, the size of our sun, or the size of what we think our sun is, and we're just in a zoo for aliens. Oh, that'd be such a cool story. Anyway, so yeah, our planet is full of iron and silicates because we're basing it off of terrestrial looks. Now, I also have a chart here. And this is a chart that I gathered up from a PDF of all things. Now, if I showed it to you, I would just confuse the crap out of you, so I'm going to keep this as simple as possible to just show what I'm doing. I'm going to figure out... Let's plop it in here. I'm going to figure out, by using the numbers I chose here, the 1.8 and the 1.3, how much sediment and materials we're going to have on my planet. So I chose a mass of 1.8, which if we go here, 1, 2, 3, and then stop about here, this is as far as I can go in terms of having a habitable planet. So everything past this point, we're not looking at. Same thing with radius. I can only go up to 1.5 without hurting myself. So if this is 10, 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, here is about where we can go. So everything outside of this little box, we can't touch. It's not complicated. At least I don't think it is. It's just a chart. This is our planet's radius, 1. This is Earth's mass, 1. And then I went 2, 3, 3.5, which is right here. 3.5. It's just chartering, basically stuff. I go grab dinner, and I come back to an astounding amount of math. It's not math! I hate math! This is actually cool. So, because I've marked off where I cannot leave, I'm going to plug in my numbers here, which is 1.8, so 1, this is a 2, so I'm going to be about here. And I'll go up the chart, and for a radius, it's a 1.3, so here's my 1, here's 2, so it's about right here. And we're right here, smack dab in that pretty little line. So, we are definitely hitting an iron-rich planet. You guys are so silly. It's not math, I promise. Also, just for comparison, this is where Earth is. So you can see how much bigger and how much we're doing with our planet. We're not going too much bigger. Why is that music so loud? Stop that. Let's turn it down just a bit. There we go. But yeah, as you can see, this is where our Earth is in terms of its radius and mass and size. And we've pushed our planet to about here. So it's not norepinephrine. Want to know about the unrequited love brain chemical? Is that really an actual chemical that we have to deal with in science? Because, oh no. That's kind of sad. Norepinephrine. That's hard to say. A surge of that it can cause feelings of happiness and euphoria. However, a surge can also lead to panic attacks, raised blood pressure, and hyperactivity. That's interesting. That's really interesting. But yes, I'm not doing math. I'm showing you guys basically how to keep your planet realistic enough to not be crazy. So people can't go around making planets. Well, I mean, I guess they could, but it'd be uh, a bit unrealistic. To make a planet like, I don't know, 3 times the size of Earth, it wouldn't really work. Not what you want to do. And right now, I'm just working on a planet. Maybe this could be my... I don't know. But yeah, I'm just making sure you guys know your boundaries, I guess. Know the limits of planet making, because if you make it a little too big or a little too crazy, it just won't be viable, I guess. Also, I can't believe I can spell from my head. I can't even say that, let alone try and spell it. Help. This is the literal definition of why we can't have nice things. Yeah, phenylethylamine? Phenylethylamine? Phenylethylamine. That's dumb and hard to say. Phenylethylamine makes serotonin, I believe. I didn't do much research into it as much as norepinephrine. But it's so hard to say. I'm so dumb. But yeah, now that we have our planet and we have our idea of what we want to do, how big it's going to be, this helps us figure out the, I guess, travel distance compared to what it would be like on Earth. It's okay, I can't see it either. Oh, okay, good. So, now that we know it's going to be a bit bigger than Earth, we know that there's going to be a lot more land on it than Earth. A planet time, ooga booga. Yeah. Not quite the map, though. Not yet. We'll be covering that in just a bit. Now, once you've figured out your planet and you know what it is and how big it is, you can also figure out whether or not it has seasons and what kind of seasons it does deal with. So, fun fact, I actually made a planet a while back that has no seasons. It's temperate all the time, basically. But there is a certain thing I had to do for that. So, for reference sake, I can show you guys this. We're going to draw Earth. Ah, yes, like my country. I'm assuming your country has no seasons. So, we're going to say this is Earth. If I could, keep my lines straight. Okay. So, this is Earth. Here's its, vertical. Here's our horizontal line. And I'm sure we all know only summer. Ooh. No, thank you. But, let's say this is a 90-degree angle of a planet. This is a 0-degree angle of a planet. And this is just the planet, just chilling. Summer but hotter and summer but wetter. Ugh, no thank you. Alright, so we all know what an axial tilt is, I hope. Axial tilt is basically the rate at which a planet is tilting on its axis. Because, fun fact, Earth is not completely standing up straight. Earth is actually on an incline. Like this. Specifically, it's on a 23-degree incline. This causes seasons. The reason it does so is because for about 6 months out of the year, the Earth typhoons are like Pacific Oceans of hurricanes. We get floods often by a hit of 20 typhoons a year! That's a lot of typhoons! Jesus! I could actually explain that later, why. But, this is about the angle at which our planet is tilted. So when it's spinning, it's doing its fun little twirl this way. The sun, over here, is cooking basically this part of the planet. So if you're really in... Oh, we're getting a science lesson. No, first math and now science? Bruh, I love science, don't front. Science is great. But yeah, we're essentially seeing the sun cook this half of the planet for about a fourth ish of the year. And that's how you get summer, specifically up here and a little bit in here. Which is why planets or our planet specifically, actually has different hemispheres for different seasons. If it's summer in this hemisphere, in the northern hemisphere, it is winter in the southern hemisphere. And then vice versa, once it's done its rotation and the planet has gone halfway around the sun, it now looks like this, where this part of the tilted planet is getting nice and toasty, and this part of the planet is not. So it's summer in the southern hemisphere and winter in the northern one. Now, you can do that with your planet if you wish. However, you don't have to. Let me clean this up a little, scoot this out the way. So, the fun thing about the planet that I designed a while back, there's my sun, I had its axial tilt. We're on the ring of fire in the line of a tectonic plate and on the equator. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's why it snows in the summer in Australia. Yes, because Australia is having its winter. It's going to be snowing in the southern hemisphere when it's nice and sunny and hot in the northern. Because the planet is tilted to reflect it, to make it like that. However, like I said, you don't need seasons. Yay, science lessons by Desmond. Yee. I give science lessons. But yeah, I actually made a planet that had a 5-degree tilt. I keep spelling it wrong, I'm stupid. Spelling what wrong? And it's okay. I know what you're saying. I understand it. So, is it really stupid? If I know what you're writing? I'm just saying. But yeah, I made a planet that had a 5-degree turn radius, which meant everything was being cooked no matter what. It was pretty much being evenly nuked. It's your name. Oh, well, I can accept Desmond and Desmond. I accept both. Because it is technically... It can be Desmond or Desmond. It just looked weird if my name was Desmond Dracula versus Desmond Dracula. I basically combined these two letters. So I go by both. So you're not spelling it wrong, I promise. Yes, evenly cooked. My planet was evenly cooked. However, this has its own issues. And I will explain why. So if you're trying to make a planet for your sci-fi or fantasy setting, we were on different pages. Desmond Dracula? Yes, good, thank you. But yeah, if you're making your fantasy planet, or your sci-fi planet or whatever, and you want seasons that are pretty consistent with how Earth is, just make sure the axial tilt is around 23 to 25, and you've got it. You've done it. You've made your planet because of this axial tilt. However, the farther away from this you get, like the closer to 0 degrees you get, the more stable the temperature of the planet becomes, and the more stable the seasons are, the less seasons you get. So let's say you have a 10% axial tilt, your seasons are going to be very tepid. And with, like I said, 1 to 5%, it's not even going to be noticeable. However, this is going to do something very unique with the planet that we don't see on Earth. This is going to bake the ever-living hell out of the middle. Because the equator is never out of direct line of sight of the sun, it's constantly being scorched. Because the equator is the closest part of the sun, because it's the part of the planet that sticks out the most. This is going to be basically a barren-ass desert. Whatever land is there, it is going to be pretty much uninhabitable. Where I live. But yeah, it's going to be a scorchy desert. You will not be able to really live here. Conversely, the same is going to happen on the poles. Up here, you're going to have ice peaks that are also uninhabitable. Now, it's pretty cold in Antarctica already, and we can't really live there. However, people can, but I think that's because of its elevation, but people can live in the freezing north. As weird as that sounds, despite its elevation on top of the planet and how cold it can get, people can still live there. Animals can still live there. However, on this planet, that would be an icy, barren wasteland. No one would be able to live there. Life as we know it would not be able to persist in this spot. However, that would they do be chillin'. However, that does mean that the planet has two very temperate, very consistent 3/4 of its body. This part of the planet and this part of the planet will constantly be lush and green and perfect pretty much all year round. Yes, there will be slight temperature changes because of that 5-degree tilt. However, it's not going to be that crazy. It'll be like a 1 to 5 temperature difference. Let's say the planet is turned this way. The northern hemisphere is going to be like 3 to 5 degrees, like colder or hotter, just depending. Same thing here whenever the planet is rotated in the other way. So that's one way to deal with seasons. You can remove seasons by the axial tilt. However, the reverse is actually true. You can tilt the planet the other way, and you can make seasons fucking awful. Hi, Cosma. How you doing? So, this is going to be our lovely, nice planet. Let's make hell on Earth. So, once we really start pushing, let's say this tilt is 40 degrees, roughly 40. That is going to be hella seasons. This is going to be a little worse than ours. I'm learning so much, I'm going to forget. No, it's fine. Just basically, the less the planet tilts on its axis, the less seasons you get. The more it tilts, the more seasons you get. I don't know if that makes sense at all. But yeah, let's say this planet's tilted at about 40 degrees. That's going to cause a lot more turbulent seasons because the planet is not really being cooked evenly, but the hemispheres are getting messed with a lot more. Also, the poles down here and up here would probably get a little warmer. So it might not even have ice caps. Not like we know. The ice caps are probably going to be smaller. Because it also has a pretty good exposure to the sun. Other than this. Conversely, the equator is probably not going to be as warm as our planet. Hell planet, our beloved. But that also means there's a lot of hot and cold pushing around the planet. So the equator here, it's essentially, like I said, not being cooked nearly as much. That means the seasons are going to be a lot crazier than ours. Temperatures are going to be a lot lower and higher than ours. And you start to actually see something fun happen whenever you push it even farther. Let's see, 90, 80, 60. Let's say I push our axle tilt almost to 90 degrees. Now, don't make the planet spin horizontally. Let's not have the axle tilt here, a la, I think it's Uranus that does it. Uranus. Let's not have the axle tilt 90 degrees. That's a recipe for uninhabitable life. You cannot live on a planet that's that far tilted. It cannot support life. The way you know the degree. Well, I'm just guessing. I'm dumb. I know this is 35, so I just kind of go, eh. But let's say, yeah, it's about at 60 degrees, so it's even farther than the 40 that I marked. Something interesting starts happening. The polar ice caps really start getting exposed to the sun. And like I said, don't go to 90. That's crazy. Arguably, don't go to 80. 70 is as far as I'm laying that down. Actually, yeah, let's push it to 70. Let's say it's at 70 tilt. These polar ice caps are actually pretty much exposed to the sun at all times. How about 71? Coralia, you mad dog. But this starts to stop becoming icy, and it actually becomes tropical. This is now tropical. Because it is touching the planet is, or the sun is warming up this part of the planet pretty much as our equator is getting warmed up. This is on an angle basically opposite of us. Conversely, this part of the planet would also be tropical. And here is where you would find your ice. Because this part of the planet is not touching, or not being touched by the sun as much. So yeah, the harder the angle you go, the more flipped your biomes are going to be. All because of how the sun's rays are hitting the planet. So, figure out your axial tilt. Like I said, this is my planet. It had scorching-ass desert. But let's see. For the sake of the world that I want to make for you guys, let's say it's got a perfect... maybe it has a perfect 15-degree angle. Not quite like ours. About right here. Let's say it's about 15 degrees. So it's not going to be as crazy as our seasons, but it is going to have some seasons. But let's say my planet that I'm making here for the sake of the creation, it doesn't really have seasons in terms of cold and hot. While yes, some things do melt and freeze while it's rocking around. This part of the planet, other than here and here, will probably never see a whole lot of snow, if at all. That's because of how little the axial tilt is. Because like I said, the less degrees... Desmond running all the math. This is not math! It's science. I don't like math. I don't like math, and I like doing this, ergo, this isn't math. This is planet tilts, the axial tilt. Fun fact, there was actually a website that let you simulate axial tilts on planets to let you see, like, how warm it gets on the planet. But it was a Flash program. And when I tried to find it, I could no longer use it because Flash is dead. And I am now sad. Because there was actually a program I used while making my world that let me actually enter in degrees of axial tilt. And it shows you how high the temperatures go and how low they can get. And my temperatures were, yeah, like a 5-degree difference. So here, like I said, here's our equator. Here's our snow. And our planet's not going to heat up and cool down as much as Earth does. So that means because it is bigger than Earth and it doesn't have as crazy of seasons, it's probably a lot more temperate to live on. Especially considering the equator is usually the hottest spot, so this part of the equator is probably a bit tougher to live in, but living here, just like the 5 degree angled planet, it's going to be a lot easier to live there. Especially on this one, it's going to be easier relative to Earth. It's not going to be as snowy or rainy in these areas compared to Earth. It's still going to rain and snow, but not as much. The top 5%ers. No. Alright. So now that I have the axle tilt out of the way, I can go on and explain moons. Now, my 5-degree angled planet had 3 moons. They looked like this. There was a big one, which, it wasn't necessarily the size of our moon. It was a little smaller. And then there was a secondary moon that was a baby that was hanging out with it. And then that main moon, the big one that was roughly the size of ours, had its own little moon, like a little tiny little moon that rotated around it. But for the sake of this, I'm gonna make our planet just have 2 moons because I want to explore that. That sounds fun. It's not a fantasy or sci-fi world if it doesn't have 2 moons, right? Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was cute. But yeah, let's say the planet has 2 whole moons. I'm gonna make a big one and then a small one. Alternia. Oh no. Oh no, no. Yeah, it was kind of like Alternia, actually. Now thinking about it. It had the green. Well, they weren't green and pink. I knew someone was gonna do it eventually. Cosma. You are not new. Yeah, we're basically making Alternia now. Well, to be fair, Alternia, like I said, has 2 moons. The green one and the pink one. And then the pink one had a tiny second pink one hanging out with it. So Alternia technically had 3 moons too. The little pink bubblegum moons. But, fine. For those of you who are new, hello. I am Desmond Dracula, a vampire bat butler, also known as a battler. I go by he, him pronouns, and I like to draw as well as Worldbuild on Wednesdays. Guess what today is? No. Also, I don't want to cover suns. I don't study suns that well. Also, I play a variety of games from RPGs to roguelikes. Boom. But yeah, I don't typically study suns. I know our sun is, like, just the standard star. I know there's also red dwarfs as well as supergiants. And I know, depending on where your planet is located at this sun, has to do with how it ends up looking. Actually, I don't think the Alternian sun on Homestuck was that big. It was relatively our size. Trolls are just dumb and can't look at the sun. Granted, we can't look at the sun. It was brighter, but it wasn't super bright. But I do know there was a red giant. They canonized it? Oh dear. What game? What game canonized it? Yep, there it is. Yeah, like I said, I don't count the games. I don't look at the games. I look at just the comic. Cecil. And stuff that Hussey was directly working with. Like, Hive Swap. Oh. Where did my cat go? Whatever. But yeah, I don't count Friend Sims and Pester Quest. Those are spin-off games. Yeah, they're spin-off visual novel games. I still don't count it. To be fair, I also don't count Homestuck 2, because Homestuck 2 is dumb. And also badly written and not written by Hussey at all. He basically gave it to... Anyway, we're not talking about Homestuck. But yeah, the only son I can really think of in that would be the super giant that the cherubs had to chill with. But, as far as planets go for our planet, we're not covering entire solar systems. We're covering just the planet itself. If you want to do an entire solar system, I'm probably not the person to talk about that because I'm not well-versed in it. I'm only well-versed in the aspects of creating the planet itself. Because knowing the planet is knowing the geography. Valid. Thank you. But yeah, this is going to be our 15-degree tilt, and I'm going to give it 2 moons. I'm going to give it a main moon, and I'm going to give it a secondary smaller moon. Now, a main moon... Cecil, stop messing with stuff. Oh, you silly thing! He's freaking out at the cat in the TV. Hint, the TV is turned off. It's his reflection. He's like, oh no, an intruder. I think it's because the TV's black, so he can't really, like, register that it's his reflection. He just sees, like, the silhouette of a cat. He is dumb. Dude, not an iota of smarts in this cat. He is lovely and so sweet, and he is so charismatic as hell. Handsome as all hell, too. He is one of the handsomest cats I've ever seen. But he is good fucking lord, he is dumb. I love him to death, but he is a dumb cat. Cecil, hi baby. Are you dumb? Hi. Yeah, he knows he's dumb. At least you know when you might get Mandela cataloged. Mandela catalog. That sounds familiar. Oh, I know what that is. It's true. Hi, baby. Oh, Kibby. Hug. Hi, baby boy. Alright, go on. Go on! You cannot have my happy juice! I just lost my tracking because he ran right by me. Alright. While he's going around, running around, and freaking out over the new quote-unquote cat in the room, we'll continue with this. Yeah, I'm gonna give this thing 2 moons. A main one and a little one. Now, fun fact, if your moon is pretty sized... wait, what new cat? Oh no, Cecil found a quote-unquote new cat in the TV, in our TV screen. The screen is turned off. It's his reflection. It's the new cat in the house. Crunches! Fine. I will do crunches. Oh, silly Cecil. Alrighty. I also am gonna get a quick stretch in. Stretches are free. Will you redeem a workout? Ugh. Oh, that's adorable. Yeah, he's dumb. He's absolutely dumb. But he's my dumb. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ugh. I popped something. I'm an old man. I cracked something doing that. Lawrence is just attacking his own tail, so... You know what? Cecil also attacks his tail. When he was a kitten, it was so cute. He was getting rambunctious and saw his tail flicking, which made it flick more, because he was getting excited. And he jumped for his tail, and bit it, and went, because it hurt, and then he kept biting it, and it's like, Cecil, buddy, If it hurts, don't do it. Please register that it's your tail, buddy. Also, thank you for the sippy. Ugh. Fucking kid. Can't stay long, still feeling sick and have to study for tests. Well, I'm sorry you're feeling sick, I didn't know. I'm sorry you're not feeling good. But please get some rest, early masochism signs in Cecil. No, I think it's just he's dumb. He didn't realize it was his tail. Then he bit it, and he's like, ow! Oh, hey, what's this? And then went after it again. But yeah, please rest, because you're feeling sick, and, have a good studying. I know you got this. Alright. I'll try my best. Good. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna give it a major moon, a big moon, and a little moon. Now, fun fact, moons are, well, our moon at least, is actually the reason why our planet is so stable. Hope everyone has a great day, and you have a good rest of your stream. Thank you, Sunshine. Pata pata. Please have a good day, and please rest. Please don't, like, push yourself. So, I'm gonna, like I said, gonna give it a moon. One about this size, maybe. Now, fun fact, our moon is absolutely cracked to the point where conspiracy theorists actually think it's an artificial object, which I can't say it's not. But the reason it's so unique is because compared... No more yawning, please. But compared to its size and its mass, it has, like, no mass compared to how big it is. And it's relatively huge compared to our planet. So, because of its size, you would think that it would be really hard to keep it in orbit because of its mass. No, it's perfectly fine. Its mass is actually really, really small. To the point where scientists have actually assumed it's hollow. Some have theorized that we have a hollow moon. There's also corroborating evidence about this from accounts of astronauts who have actually landed on the moon. They said that when they landed on on the moon with their spaceship, it actually felt like it was reverberating almost. Like it was ringing like a bell, according to one account. Which is really fucking cool! And I know a lot of stuff has come out about our moon, conspiracy-wise, where it's an artificially made object and was put in place to help simulate life, I guess. To help stabilize life, rather. Because, fun fact, our moon is so perfectly good at its job. We've actually never seen what it looks like on the other side. We have only ever seen one side of our moon. Now, what I mean by this is, here's our planet, here's our moon. We have only ever seen this side of it, because our moon is basically tethered to our planet. And when our planet is rotating, the moon is rotating with it. And to think of it like a chain almost, where the moon is chained to the planet, and we will never ever see this side, because the moon does not rotate, without, how do I explain it? The moon does not rotate. It rotates, but it does not rotate at a rate where we can see the other side. It will always have its face looking at us, which is really fucking interesting. Which is why it's always looked the same. We will always see the crater of Tycho at the bottom left of the moon. We will always see the man in the moon, the face, or a bunny rabbit, if you're Chinese. because it's never changed. It's been like that since we could record it. And that's fucking cool. It rotates while revolving around our planet. Did you mean that? Basically, yes. In fact, 1 day for the moon is also a year for the moon. Because when it rotates, wherever it's looking at our planet, it's attached. And we do not see what that back end looks like. It's really fucking cool. But we don't necessarily have to do that for our moons. That's just what our moon does. Also, like I said, our moon is big compared to most moons. Because our planet, relative to its size, the moon size, it doesn't make sense why we're holding it for so long as a satellite. But for the sake of that, for the sake of just simplicity, we'll give our planet here a moon about 1/10 of its size. Nothing too crazy. And then we'll give it one little moon. And the little moon, I'm going to make it look kind of warpy. Because maybe it was an asteroid that got caught in at some point and pulled into the range of being a satellite. And now they're just both hanging out. Now the little moon's hanging out. This moon, the little one, I'm probably going to have closer to this planet, so that they look roughly the same size. However, it's clear that this one is closer because you'll be able to see its shadow when it passes over this moon. I'm also going to have this little one go faster. So that'll help with calendars. But that's what I'm going to do. And of course, we need our moon because the moon, actually, its gravitational pull actually locks us in our axial tilt. It keeps us from wobbling any more than we are. Essentially keeping life stable because of the seasons. So this is the design of our planet. 2 moons. One big, one little, and our 15-degree axial tilt planet. And now we know how harsh the seasons are. Which actually helps further culture. It also helps in knowing constellations. Because if you want to make a mythos and like an astrology table for your people for some reason, now you can. Because, fun fact, we have constellations in different parts of the sky depending on the year. And our ancestors knew that. That's why they made so much importance on the stars and star charting. It was one of their only ways they could tell the year apart. It was the only way they could calculate our year and calculate time. So, now that we have all of that, we can actually start getting into the meat of the planet. We can start figuring out what it looks like. Now that we have all this info down. So when I make a map for a world, I usually go 1x2, if that makes sense. Just because it's easier to handle. So let's say I have 1,000 pixels this way. I want to go 2,000 pixels this way for the picture. Because I like wrapping it around an actual sphere in a program and looking at the planet as it would look like above. So I'm going to grab my incarnate right here. Look at it. Beautiful. Beautiful little program. Let's boop it. And I'm going to select this fantasy world thing. I normally use parchment because I'm making an actual, like, parchment, like, planet. But for now, I'm going to try and make an actual planet. So, I'm going to make it landscape. No, I'm going to make it custom. So, this is 30 rows. I'm going to make it... Let's make it 20 rows. So 20 rows, 40 columns. That's going to make it twice as long as it is tall. Or twice as wide as it is high? I don't know. You'll see when I'm done generating it. Get out of here. I want to use Opera. Alright, so you can see that this is the 1, this is the 2, so it's like a really long rectangle. And I'm gonna start mapping out and putting down some land masses. Okay, that looks fine. I'm also going to color the water real quick. I want my planet to look a bit more realistic for this situation. So I'm gonna go find some water textures that look fairly close to what you see in, like, planet simulators, which typically have, like, really dark waters, so I'm gonna do that. It's actually a little more blue than that sometimes. Let's see how blue I can get this. Yeah, usually something like this. Okay, that's not bad. Alright, I'm gonna go back to land. I need to remove that, though. Advanced settings. Here we go. I can remove the masks. Okay, cool. Let's do that. I'm gonna remove the mask effects. And now I just have the actual land. And I'm gonna keep it that way. I wish I could find ocean waters that are more blue. Oh, that's pretty. Why isn't it working? Hello? Weird. Alright, I'm not gonna mess with that. But yeah, let me put down my land masses. Now, the first thing I like to do with my man lasses, help. How I usually find out where my land masses are going to be is I consider where fault lines are going to be. Now, fault lines are basically where tectonic plates on our planet line up with each other. So, we're going to do that very quickly. I'm going to find out a few of my fault lines. You can actually do this with Earth, too. If you look at Earth's fault lines, you can see that it lines up pretty well with our continents. So let's do that real quick. I can show you guys what our plate tectonics looks like versus our continents, as well as any super elevated part of the planet. Alright, I need to find an actual... Aha, here we go. This works. And now we can look at Earth elevation map. Now we can look at Earth's elevation, and we can use that to see... Oh, that's a really dumb-looking map. Okay, I'll use this one. So, as you can see here, this is our tectonic plates. Let me actually do this. Hold on. I'm gonna make this nice. I'm gonna bring it in here. Now, this is something I've already covered last Monday when I was doing the fantasy map, when I was just drawing for the sake of it. But I'm going to go over it again. As you can see here, these are our plate tectonics. These are little pieces of the planet because the planet is broken up. It has moving crust plates. And these are each of those crust plates. And as you can see, they really do follow a good bit of our continents. And that's because that's where our continents were either broken up from Pangea, a la over here, or it's where the tectonic plates are meeting and pushing land up. So, over here, for instance, you see the Indian plate. You see how it, like, basically cuts into the Eurasian plate right here. You can actually see that in the elevation. This is the plate. You can see that it's suddenly really high. Like, here's low elevation in the green, and then this yellow and white elevation. That's it being super pushed up and high, because these plates, this Indian plate, is basically shoving that part of the Eurasian plate up. That clash is causing this super high elevation, which means there's also probably a lot of earthquakes in this area, because that's where a lot of tectonic activity is. In fact, if you looked at every single spot and fault line here, you can see where a lot of earthquakes are going to happen. You can tell where earthquakes are going to be very crazy. Like, the Philippines catch a fuck ton of earthquakes, as well as Japan, because look, they're on that fault line, and the Philippines actually combines, it's met with at least 4 other plates. It has a fuck ton of fault lines. So there is a boatload of earthquakes in this region, because they can feel those tectonic movements really hard. And if we can come in here, we can actually see these lines. Look at this. Here's the tectonic plate right here. And if we look at the elevation, here it is. Right there. You can see it. It's really fucking cool. You can also see the Pacific plate. You see how big that thing is? It's just a giant fucking bowl of ocean. There it is. It's right here. You can see the lines that it's making. That's really cool. Also, rip this poor little island, because they probably catch a fuck ton of earthquakes. They are on a fault line. Look at that. Alright, now that I've shown that off, we can start to make our own fault lines to figure out where our tectonic plates are going to go, and how our continents are going to wrap around that, essentially. So I'm going to make a quick little mock-up right here. And I'm going to... First, I'm going to find the main ocean plate, because our planet is terrestrial, therefore it's going to have a good amount of ocean activity. It's going to have a lot of water. It's good to have more water than land, for the most part. Oh no, my one true nemesis. Math! This isn't math! I promise it's not math, I'm drawing. Me want apple juice. I'm not drunk enough for this. I need apple juice. Ah, apple juice, yum. Also, apple juice does not count as sippy. Apple juice is personal drink. Water is for sippy. Alright, so, using the tectonic plates that I have pulled up, I'm going to use them as basically inspiration to figure out where I'm going to be putting my plates. So, let's see. So, since the planet is at a 15-degree tilt, I might make this a plate Maybe not that big. But I definitely want to make the bottom cap a plate as such. Then let's make water. Let's make a watery plate. I'm gonna make it do this crazy thing. And let it just chill there. And then I will make a smaller plate like this, and it comes from here. And then we can have little plates in between these spaces. So, for instance, this can be a plate right here. And this is just me sketching. I'm not really thinking where to put plates at the moment. If you already have a concept in mind for where you want land masses, put down your land masses first and then follow some of them to figure out your fault lines, your tectonic plates. But for right now, I'm not doing that because I don't have any land masses. I'm figuring out the plates first. So I'm going to make this another small plate. I'm going to make this an average plate. And then we'll have, let's say this one. And then we'll chop this up here. Let's say it goes over the planet a little bit more. And then we'll have this be a plate. And then this is a plate. So those are going to be my main plates. And then I'm going to find a few small ones here. And maybe here. Because remember, our planet does have little baby plates as well. And there could be multiple baby plates hanging out with each other. For instance, the Nazca plate, as well as the what is that? The Caribbean, I think it's called? The Caribbean plate? They're like right next to each other, and they're pretty small. You know what? For the sake of it, I'm gonna put a little plate here too. Oh, hiccup. Alright, now that I know roughly where I want my plates... Rude. I'm going to use this now as a reference for my plates in general. So, I'm gonna just take a quick little picture of it so I can have it on a different screen. A boop. There we go. And we're gonna use this. I can close out my tectonic plates, and we are going back to incarnate. There it is. Okay, so those are just our tectonic plates. I can close this out now. And looking at my tectonic plates here, I'm going to draw out a quick little map with my lines here. So I have something that does this. And then it goes over here. Then I have it do this. It looks like a wave almost. And then I have this here in the middle. And then I have this that reaches up. And it basically comes down and meets this halfway. I have this fun little thing. There we go. Also, I'm gonna close that out here. I'm gonna bring this out here. And we'll bring it down here to meet. I might make this its own little plate. I don't have that in the original sketch, but that's fine. I don't need to. I'm gonna bring this up, and this will be meeting about here. I also like the idea of making this a plate. And then this is its own plate. And that should be connecting with this, pretty much. And then this should be connecting with this. So these are my plates. These are my tectonic movement plates. And using these, I'm going to put down my continents. Now, first things first, I'm going to find basically my ocean plate. And I'm probably going to make it this one, as well as this one. So everything else, I'm going to try and fill up with land. So everything in this region is going to be land. Now, first of all, I'm going to cover... Let's make my tool a bit bigger here. I'm going to cover up this part of the planet. I'm going to do this. And you don't have to follow the fault lines to a T. As you can see, I'm not following them. Actually, what should I do this with? It's not like I have different colored stuff. Okay, whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna have this, pretty much part from that. And follow this to a point. Actually, I have an idea. We're gonna take a picture of this. Just so I can have it, since it is new. Compared to the tectonic plates I put down. I'm going to remove the old tectonic plates here. Alright, and I'm going to use a fun little program that I like... Oops. I like to issue whenever I need to trace over stuff that I've already drawn. And I need to do it in, like, another space other than Clip Studio. Because it lets me have, like, layers. This is a program called PureRef, and it's beautiful, and Meowski actually showed it to me. So I'm going to pop this out. There we go. So I'm going to pop this out and bring this here, and I'm going to use it to paint over the tectonic plate pieces. Alrighty. So, now that I have done that, I can go in and actually put in my land. So, as followed, I wanted to do this. I wanted to separate it from this, and then move it in here, and then have it come out at about here. Which means here, it's also connected. And that's going to be my bottom of land. Land-ice combination. It's not going to just be land. Because remember, my planet's at a 15-degree angle, so this is going to be a lot colder than our Antarctica. Because it has a lot less sunlight that it's exposed to. Alright, now that I have that done, I'm going to create some land above that. Like I said, I want to make this basically my water plate, my oceanic plate, I believe they're called. So that means over here is where the continents are going to be. So I'm going to have this continent follow these plates for the most part, much like we see with North America. I'm also going to have maybe this follow the fault line, because, fun fact, tectonic plates, when opening and separating and messing around with each other, they actually start creating volcanoes because of the magma seeping out from the internals of the Earth. This magma, over time, starts making volcanoes, popping up on top of the ocean floor, and then it cools down, calms down, and turns into islands. So you will actually see chains quite a bit on these fault lines. Similar to something like that. I do believe a good example of that would be... let me go look real quick. Let's go look at Earth's elevation map one more time. Oh, that is very bright. Let's not look at that one. That one was a little too crazy. So let's go look at Earth's thing real quick again. And you can see that some of it is lifted up here, and you can see how the ground is actually starting to raise in this spot. That's because of the tectonic plating pushing up on each other. You can also see it, like I said, here in this elevation. It's huge. Also, you can see it here, where the land actually stretches out just a bit. So that's what we're going to emulate with our map here. Also, I'm going to turn on the air. It's very hot. So if you hear a running AC, I am sorry, but it is hot. It is like 90 degrees now. Hey. There we go. Alright. So I have my basic idea for a landmass. I'm going to have it... I need to make this bigger. I'm going to have it cut in at about here, maybe. Maybe it stretches with this plate as well. Who knows? And then it has... I don't want it to reach the top. Not quite. So let's say it stops at about here. And then we can follow this for a little bit, and then we can just go wherever we please. Because we don't need to follow the fault line. Remember, we don't have to follow it completely. Africa is actually halfway, like, across its fault line. It's pretty far away from it. Alrighty. And then I will have another landmass. Let's say I have a little one right here, maybe? Another little landmass here. This little plate I'm going to have as a pocket for more water. And I'm going to follow this fault line just a bit. And I'm going to have it stretch out maybe like this. And let's say this landmass actually is clinging to the top here. There we go. Something like that. And I'm gonna fill these in. Wah! There we go. And now I'll fill this in. Whee! Okay, so I've gotten a pretty good bead on what I want this planet to look like. However, I'm considering stretching this out just a bit more, like this. As such. And maybe we'll have some more land masses in this spot of the There we go. And then let's add a few more little islands here and there to dot the map with. I've added one here, but let's add a few more. Let's have some islands just jet around and dot across this map. Decorate it up, make it look a little nice, a little lively. I'm going to make an island on this fault line because, let's say, it started to seep out and make a bunch of crazy stuff. I'm going to make an island chain here, maybe an island chain here. This can go a little bit longer, maybe. Let's have a series of islands hanging out in here. And remember, islands typically go in chains. That's because the fault lines are all leaking out in a line. I remember my time on an island. I'm sorry, Usagi, what kind of island? I'm curious, but also scared to ask. Alright, I'm also going to add just a bit here. And let's say there we have some islands here too. This is our little island fault line here. Let's give this just a bit more land. Because I want it to be a bit bigger. Actually, I can use it to follow this fault line. It's being pushed out, let's say. There we go. Went to deliver heavenly trinkets and I got lost and harassed by monkeys. Oh no! I'm sorry, Usagi. I have a question, Usagi. Do you live on the moon? Did you come from the moon? It's just a little question. You don't gotta answer if you don't want to. I'm just curious. Maybe I want this to stretch out just a bit more. Like so. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, I think it was just my wire. Oh, I thought I felt something crawling on my leg and I panicked. But I think it was just my wire brushing up. No, I came from heaven itself. I do occasionally sleep on the moon, but I am making my own little slice of heaven on Earth. Aw, that's so cute. But yeah, I know bunny rabbits are said to be from the moon, which is why I was asking. Alrighty. I'm gonna clean this up a bit. Just a little bit. As such. There we go. Just to get a bit more look to it. So, this is going to be our planet for the sake of this exercise. I also happen to be making an army of bunnies to take over the world, but that's a different endeavor. I believe you, Usagi. I believe you. Alright, now I'm gonna move my pure ref. I don't need it anymore. And this is the map we're left with. Now, I'm going to play around with it here. Like, I'm going to add maybe this. Maybe I want a lake here. What else? What else should I do here? Maybe I'll cut in on some of this. There we go. Alright, now, how do we find mountains? So, fun fact, there are a lot of different ways to go about tectonic plates. We've already put them down, and we don't need to worry too much about different ones unless you really want to figure out where a lot of earthquakes happen. So, since you have this, your tectonic map, you can actually go in and figure out, because let's say you want to make a story where people are being ravaged by earthquakes. Well, now you know where these earthquakes are going to hit. They're going to hit here, 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 where all of these, like, lines hit, especially these 3-point lines right here, it's going to be bad. Because that's where all 3 tectonic plates are clashing with each other. And they can do that in 3 different ways. Normally on land here, they are clashing together and pushing on each other and rubbing, which is called convergent plates. They're usually making mountain ranges. They're pushing hard on each other to push up. Divergent, however, is usually what you find in the ocean. It's when the plates are basically sliding away from each other, and it causes lava and magma and the internals of the earth to leak out, make volcanoes, make islands. Boom. There it is. There's your stuff. And then there's transform, where they're basically sliding on top of each other, a la internal plates sitting on top of big plates, like the Indian plate, the Indian steppe, what I was exploring earlier. So we don't have to worry too much about oceanic plating. We just have to know that wherever those are, that's where little mountains are starting to crop up. So, I'm going to grab my mountain tool, and we're going to start putting down mountains. I'm going to make my mountains small. Not that small. I do need to see the mountains. Okay, that's not bad. Alright, get out of here. So, the first things first. I'm going to find where the mountains are situated real quick. And I believe this would be a good spot for a lot of mountains. A good mountain range right here. And that's because we're following that line of tectonic activity. And the reason mountains tend to grow on fault lines like this is, like I said, get out of here, pure ref. Typically, what tectonic plates look like is something like this. Here's one tectonic plate hanging out, and here's another one on top of it, sliding up or down from each other, like this. But mountain tectonic plates pretty much work like this, where they're clashing with each other like this, like BAM! And then they just start pushing this way. And then the earth itself starts creasing and crinkling like a wrinkle, and pushes up. So you get a lot of rocky, tall, mountainous ranges on these fault lines, on these tectonic plate meets. Alright, where's my incarnate? There it is. So we're going to have a lot of mountains right there, right across that ridge. And maybe this is even a little higher in elevation. Who knows? Let me find my pure ref again. There it is. So, once again, we have a few more mountains in this region. And then here, we're actually going to have a lip. So I'm going to add a few more mountains in this area. Which means this is probably lifted a bit more than everything else. And then we're going to plop down some more mountains here, here, because this is where the fault line pushed that piece of land up. I'll do that in a minute. And then we're just going to decorate it up here to have mountains just lining up all of this a la North and South America. If you look at North and South America, you know that a lot of their mountains are on the western side of their coasts. And that's because that's where that oceanic plate and that continental plate just started pushing the continent up and lifting it to make these mountains over millions of years. Same thing over here. Our island is being lifted up and pushed. Same thing here. We'll have a few mountains, mountainous regions in this area, but for the most part, this is just lifted really high. We'll also add in a few mountains here, just to hang out, and maybe a few mountains here. So, that is how you find your mountain ranges. You look for the tectonic activity on the planet for the most part. Now, it's not a one-to-one. There's going to be mountains where there is also volcanic activity. Let's say this island developed because it was a volcano. Boom, that's the mountains. And then everywhere else on these little dots, you'll probably see the same thing. Now, we're going to make something else lip instead of just be a mountain. I don't need these hills. I don't need these. Let's look for terrain. Here we go. Give me this. So this is a I'll grab this. This is basically a lip. A tool, I guess, is the word I'd use. And it shows I can put down stuff like this. And it's how you can get steps. Steps and lips are essentially just really big, really lifted land masses. Which means that while, yes, my mountainous area is right here, and you can see it, and the mountain is combining with this, that means this is probably a basin. It's probably a very protected basin, too. Because you have all of these lips, and you have this huge plate that's pushing in. But just because it's a basin does not mean it is safe. It's also probably horrifying to live in, because you're smack dab in a mountain range as well as this. Alright, and I'm going to add another lip over here. Let's find a better one. There we go. Ah. I did not mean to grab the mountain. There we go. Alright, boop, there's my other lip. And that is roughly with concordance of my fault lines, basically. So now that we've found our mountain ranges, we can actually start putting down our biomes. Because we need to know where mountains first are before we can start working on biomes. The reason for that is because mountains actually take a huge part in that. So the next thing we need to do is figure out its wind direction. Its trade wind direction, specifically. Like I said, this is something I covered last Monday, but I'm going to cover it again. So, fun fact. Wind direction, as well as just winds in general, are typically controlled in part, 1, by how the planet is turning, and 2, where the sun is hitting the planet to create cold winds and hot winds. So, for instance, here's our planet again. We're gonna generate another lovely chart. So, tectonic plates. And now we're gonna generate some wind currents. So all winds happen on a global scale on a planet, and it tells you where everything is going and ending up. So for instance, our planet, here's our equator, and on our planet's equator, that is where we're going to start finding these winds. So the planet, at least the planet we're messing with, because it doesn't have to have this rule. It just depends on how fast the planet is spinning. But because our planet is roughly... Oh, thank you for the snack, Blippy! Oh, and a pet! I like pets. Pets are nice. Here it comes. Thank you, Blippy. I like pet. No, you're cute. Hey, I can't help it. The trill just kind of comes out, okay? It's not a noise I voluntarily make. I just do it. Alright, so, since I want my planet to be roughly in line with terrestrial means, I want our year, our solar... Our day and our year to be roughly the same. Let's say, you know, it's bigger, so it's a little slower. Let's say it has about 400 days to get around the sun. That's probably a little too hopeful. Let's say it has 413 days to get around the sun. Because it's a little bigger, it's a little slower, it's gonna take a little while. And because it's bigger, let's say it has, instead of 24 hours, let's say it has 28 hours a day. And it has 413 days a year. Yeah! So now that we know that the planet is roughly in concordance with how our planet works in terms of winds. So here's our equator. I wrote Ecuador. Kill me. And granted, that's why it's called Ecuador, but still. So, our planet is now halved, and then halved again. So, we have 3 different kinds of winds to deal with. I'm going to break it up into about a third, like this. So, these are our equatorial winds, also called trade winds. It's going to be in this zone of the planet's map. And then we're going to have another set of winds here, and then another set of winds here. Polar winds. I don't remember what these are called, but these are also listed as certain winds. So, let's say our planet, instead of going east to west, or, not east to west, instead of our planet twirling... For the sake of it, I'm gonna have the sun set, rise in the east and set in the west, like us. I'm also gonna crunch more snack from Blippy. Because I have little Cheetos right now. I have like a little bag of Cheetos. Ow. So, since the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, that means the planet is rotating in the same direction as ours. So that means trade winds. The planet is rotating this way. Because the sun does this. Goes from... Oh no, it goes this way. I'm directionally challenged. It goes from east to west. Does that mean the planet is spinning this way? And that also means that the winds are going to be moving with that a bit. So, in the equator, we have our trade winds. And our trade winds do something like this. They swirl this way. Same thing here. They swirl and they meet in the middle. Now, why the hell am I doing all this? And that's because if I can follow the winds and figure out how the global winds work on our planet, we can figure out where all the rainfall from the oceans are going. And I'll show you what that fully means here in a minute. But these winds, I don't think they're called trade winds. I can't remember what these are called. But they go the opposite direction. They curve up, and they flow this way. Because they're swirling off of the equator, and they're warmer winds, I believe. And same thing over here. There's going to be winds curling this way. Now, fun little fact, the polar is following in the same path as the trade winds. Yes. Yeah, I made it 413 days because I felt like it. So the polar winds are going this way, like this. They're going up and to the left instead of down and to the right. And they're clashing with these warmer winds. Here we go. Also, I was dead for a second, flexing my knowledge of the Europe map skills. That's fair, Coralia. Alright, now that I have our wind chart, I can take a cute little picture of it, and I'm going to keep it on my other screen so that I can use it as a reference. And we're going to go back to Incarnate. And now that we know the winds, we can figure out what's green and what isn't. So, let's grab my handy-dandy, trusty-wusty, colory thing. There we go. And I'm going to figure out what is green and what is not. So, for those of you who know what South America looks like, you will notice something very interesting and cool about it. Let's pull it up and actually see how it's designed and how it looks. Let me find like a really high quality version of it real quick. Ooh, that's a pretty good high quality of it. Okay. Oh, damn it. Lock in with you. There we go. Okay, so now that I have this pulled up, I can show you guys how it works. So as you can see here, South America has this huge mountain range, and that makes sense because that's where the tectonic plate is. The tectonic plate is pushing that piece of the continent up, and it's arching it upward. Oh no, that picture didn't work. I'm trying to find a better picture of South America. Ooh, this is a real nice picture. I'm gonna use this one. So yeah, as you can see, this is a huge mountain range. To the point where there's snow peaks, even up here, closer to the equator. But there's this fun little thing. Up here are trade winds, like I said, in our sheet here. Our trade winds are going this way. It's going from right to left. And you can see that here. You can see that on this side of the mountain, on the right side of this mountain range, it's super lush and it's super green. And in this basin, it's just completely stuffed with trees and lush greenery. But then when you get over here, it suddenly swaps on you. It's really green on the left side of the mountain range, while over here on this side of the mountain range, you can see it's like barren. But over here, it's lush and green, and on the other side, it's barren. So what's happening here? Here, you can see, like I said, the trade winds are going this way, from right to left. However, I did show you that cool trade wind, the warmer trade winds, below the equator, are going down and to the left instead of up and to the right. So water here is being transported to this side of the continent, but the mountain range is stopping it. Mountain ranges are typically, they cut off. Hi, baby. Mountain ranges typically cut off rainfall. So when you see here the water will usually be picked up in the ocean. It'll evaporate, go into the sky, turn into clouds, and it'll pass over this part of the continent, and it turns this place into a lush rainforest. However, it will never pass over these mountains very much because, one, it has a lot of continent to cover, but two, that mountain range is basically acting as a barrier. This is called a rain shadow. And it keeps the planet dry and barren in certain parts. Which is why, like I said, suddenly it becomes super green here because the winds are going the opposite direction. This is the nice, lush greenery from the rain, and this is the rain's shadow. So we're going to take that principle and we're going to apply it to our new map that we've created. So, like I said, I want my trade winds to be the same as Earth. These are going to be going this way, and the ones in the middle are going to be going left to right. So everything in the middle, going right, if we find a mountain range, we're going to put down green. Did you know that I have one less brain cell than how many brain cells I normally have? So... you have one brain cell now? I don't know how many brain cells humans have. I know we have at least 2. Alrighty, so, yeah, we're gonna follow the trade winds, and wherever I see a lot of water, as well as a mountain range, I'm going to add a lush green, just to remind myself that's where that's going to be. So that's going to be my lush green for over here. Let's see, it's going to keep passing over, and then we're going to hit this and add a bit more green. I'm going to keep passing over, and then here we're going to make a bit more green. Maybe not as much because it doesn't pick up all of that water. Because there's less of a basin here. There we go. Alright, so because my trade winds are going this way, bam, I hit that. I'm a human? Oh. I guess not. Alright, now that I have all of that, we're now going to follow the other trade winds. I don't remember what they're called. These are trade winds, these are something else. So we're going to have these hit and smack dab right here. And then this is probably going to be pretty empty and scary and gross. But then we're going to have a bit of green here, but nothing as crazy as you'll find here. Just for the sake of rain pouring in from other parts of the map, like right here, it could cross over some of the mountain range. So we're going to have some of that be kind of green. Same thing over here. This is going to be super green because the ocean and the water here is going to be pushing a bunch of that greenery over. So it's going to be pretty green here too. Same thing down here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make the winds go this way, so this is pretty green right here. These islands are lovely. And then it's going to be super green here. Maybe I'll stretch this out to about here. There we go. But this is going to be super green. Same thing here. But this side of the mountain is not going to be touched. Same thing here. And then everything else is going to be cold, icy winds. So I'm going to change that to... Let's go find snow. So I'm just going to make this into snow. Whee! And I'm also going to cap this with snow. And let's say this is lifted a bit, so it's kind of snowy. A la Greenland. Alright, so we've pretty much found where everything is going to go, since I've laid out the general colors. This isn't accurate for, like, pure accuracy, but this does add in where stuff is. A bit. So, in order to find your desert... Oh, that's lava. Let's find a nice sandy color. That is not sand, that is grass. Desert, here we go. Let's grab a nice desert look. So once again, we're following our trade winds, which go this way. We're following the water hits here. So that means here is roughly where it's a lot more dry, a lot more unforgiving, because remember, this is the equator, so this is where most of the sunlight is going to be hitting. So it's going to be baking this part of the planet. And then it's going to continue to clash against this, and this is going to be pretty deserty too. In fact, this whole basin might just be a desert basin. I might call it the desert basin. And then we have a bit more sand here. Roughly in tandem with like, say, not the Horn of Africa, but the top of Africa, you know, that giant Saharan desert. That's because that is literally right there on the equator where the sun scorches it the most. And it has no mountains to catch rain. And it has not a whole lot of room to work with when it comes to that. It can't keep that kind of stuff. I know I've made a lot of changes. Shush. Alright, fine. I'll save it. I have not saved this yet. Whoa. I'm gonna nom a Cheeto while I wait for this to save. Ow. Okay. So now that we have our desert area here laid down, I'm actually going to go in and make some of this look a little more, like, barren. At least here. I'm going to give it, like, this cool orangey look, because it's, like, super barren. Same thing in the basin. I want the basin to look pretty much dead. There we go. I'm also going to do the same thing on this side of these mountains. Because this side of the mountains cannot really enjoy the luxuries of grass. They cannot, in fact, touch grass. Let me make this a fade. Because this part of the planet doesn't not have greenery. It's just not as lush as other parts of the planet. So like here, I'm sure this has some greenery to it, and maybe up here too. But it's not nearly as lush and pretty as other parts. Same thing here. My islands have greenery. And now I'm gonna go look for some very dense, lush colors. Because I want to lay in where it is. Like right here. And here. And maybe a bit here. And here as well. Alright, we have a basis of our planet, and the basis of its colors put down. All because we followed these trade winds. We let the winds push the water across the continent, and we figured out what's going to be lush and what's going to be barren because of where our mountains are. So you can see now where everything is pretty much in line with one another. Oh. I guess I opened up Psy on accident. Alrighty, so now that I have all of that set down, I might do some quick tweaking here and there. Maybe I want a bit more desert because I feel like it in this basin here. Maybe I feel like having a bit more desert here as well. And let's add a bit of snow here and there, like here maybe. Because maybe this plate is really high up. Same thing here. Oh, I also want to make my mountains change color. Because apparently you can do that. You can change their colors. Like this. So I'm going to make them look kind of like snowy peaks. There we go. Snowy Peak Mountains. Yay! Oh, that dude looks cool. Alright, I need to stop watching Leon. He's playing a game. And I need to focus. Alright, so now that I have my snowy mountain... Oh, wait, no. Let me change these guys up. There we go. Alright, so my snowy mountains have been changed, for the most part. Just to make everything look clean and... Kojiro, hello! Welcome in! Are you? I don't know, Kojiro. Are they? Oh. Okay. So this also helps us figure out where cyclones, as well as typhoons and other oceanic issues start rising. I'm typing with one claw is hard. Aww. Kojiro. It's okay, I know what you're saying. Alrighty, so I'm gonna figure out where my tropical monsoons and all that is coming from. So, tropical usually means it's in the equator, because that's where the warmest winds come from. And it's also clashing with the cooler winds that are swiping in from the north. So let me... nope. Let me open up my colors real quick. And I'm just going to use this as a guideline. These aren't going to stay for long. I'm just going to use them to show you where stuff's going. So since trade winds are doing this and sweeping down, you will typically... Let's see, where's my equator? It's roughly here. And the trade winds are doing this. So we're going to have places like here get hit by monsoons and cyclones and all that really hard. It's also going to be pretty bad here too, because this is actually a large gulf. A lot of water is going to pick up and just crash all of this. It's also going to happen a little bit here too, because remember, the winds are pushing them this way, so this is going to get hit really bad. Same here, but though not as hard, because it's got a continent padding it a little bit, but this will get hit a bit. However, because of these big mountain ranges, everything out here is protected. This isn't going to get hit. Not that bad. However, conversely, here's our equatorial winds. Yeah, everything's coming this way. So pretty much nothing is going to get really super hit by cyclones and monsoons and water disasters, except for this side of the planet. This side of my planet is going to be bombarded with water and oceanic activity. But these mountains are going to be protecting a lot of people, so this is probably an area where I will not see a whole lot of people settling. Not easily. Same thing over here, possibly a little bit, because maybe an occasional water current pushes itself over here. But because of all this space, like basically keeping the water from pushing itself around so much, you can't really get much of a water issue over here. Not to mention, the way the mountains are located, everything is fine. So, that's how you can figure out where water issues are coming from. Which part of the islands, which part of your continents are going to get fucked up. So if there's like a bunch of islands over here, they are completely washed out. You'd have to feel bad for the people living there. So this is where my cyclones are going to slam in the most. They're going to come in, swirling, and crash into here. Oh, sorry about that. I thought my mic. But for the most part, my planet wouldn't actually have that bad of a weather condition to begin with. One, it's only happening over here because of the trade winds. And since this is protecting this, it's not that crazy. Two, it's on a 15-degree angle of its rotational axis. So the seasons aren't going to be that crazy anyway. Not like we have, at least. So this is probably a pretty tame, gentle planet to live on. Now, that does not mean it is completely safe. We are still going to have weather. It's not going to be as crazy as our weather, but just like how the equator here has water being pushed in and slamming into it from this direction, we also have water slamming into the planet from this direction. Which means water is going to be picked up and brought to this side and rained on. Same thing over here. So this is going to be an extremely rained on place. And not to mention, since the water is coming down and creating cool air with all of this water, and this air is pushing up, let's see, they're going to swirl around each other, and there's going to probably be a lot of thunderstorm activity in this area. Maybe not so much here, but definitely here, because this is an opening for those clouds to come in full force. So my Amazon rainforest is also probably going to have a lot of thunderstorm activity. especially in between it and the desert. This is probably thunderstorm heaven right here. So that's how you can go about weather phenomena. You can see where your winds are going to be pushing on each other. You can figure out where thunderstorms are coming from, cyclones are coming from. We already know where earthquakes are because we've looked at the tectonic plates, and we can also figure out where tornadoes are coming from. Now, tornadoes are typically created whenever there is cold, dry air and a warm, dry air clashing with each other and spinning into a fucking air cyclone of terror, which is why Kansas is always getting fucked. Because Kansas is right there, right in between those trade winds and the medial, whatever the fuck winds, the ones in between the polar and the tropical. Those fuckers, they are constantly swirling with each other. Right here, these swoop in and then these swoop in here, and they just spin on this axis. Because these winds are doing this little swooping motion, they're not just pushing this way. They can also swoop up just a little bit with cooler air. Same thing with these. They can at times swoop down. And it creates these little spirals right in this line of the planet. And Kansas gets fucking smacked because it's roughly in tandem with where it is. Granted, it's not just Kansas that gets hit with it. It's, I know Arkansas can take it. There's a few states near Kansas that also has to deal with, tornadoes, but for the most part, Kansas is known for its tornadoes. And that's why, because the cold and hot air are twirling around with each other. So not only do you have thunderstorms clashing it up, you can also have tornadoes just hanging around, especially during the dry season, like during the summer. So during the spring, you're going to get a lot of thunderstorms when the planet is heating up and a lot more water from the oceans are evaporating into the sky. But when it's summer and the temperatures are more consistently warm, then the colder air, the colder dry air from the north is going to come down, swoop with that warm air, and instead of thunderstorms, sometimes you're going to get some tornadoes. So that's how you know where you're going to layer your weather. Now then, now that we've covered all of that fun stuff, I've already talked about rain shadow. Let's see, I've already talked about windward, water, biomes. Okay, so I actually grabbed a picture of our planet and its biomes. Let me see if I can find a better picture of it. That one looks kind of shitty. Let's find a really good picture for biomes here. This one works pretty good. It looks really nice. This one also looks pretty nice. I'll use this one. This one's pretty good. So, biomes, we all know what a biome is. I'm sure you've played Minecraft. But biomes in the real world are layered on top of each other in this very lovely mosaic of... Oh, that's pretty too. I like this one. Oh, nah, I'll stick with the one I have right now. I need to stop trying to look for a better one. This one's just fine. I hope. Alright. So, as you can see, this is a little chart for all of the biomes. Well, most of the main biomes, at least. And we've covered ice and tundra and why it's there. Because those are the polar ice caps. It's where the sun does not really hit the planet. And then we've covered the equator and why it's so hot, why it has this desert and semi-arid nature to it, because that's where most of the sun is hitting it. Sorry about that. But there is also these other little biomes in between, like tropical rainforests, tropical evergreen forests, right here and here. And we've already discussed why. It's because it's off from the equator. Actually, no. Deserts are not on the equator itself. Deserts are a little bit higher, at least on our planet, because of the axis tilt. But I have moved my deserts a little closer to the equator on this planet because of its tilt. The tilt is less so. Which means the tropical rainforests are more in line with the equator because that's where the most heat is. And that's where the most rain is pushed, right here. As well as here. And then the seasonal forests tend to line tropical rainforests I see here. See here, here's tropical, and then here's seasonals, typically acting as an outline, which is really interesting. And then outside of that, you get savannas. And, you know, open air, open hill biomes, pretty much. Like, especially in here. If it's not super elevated, you can see that there is a lovely, lush green, but it's not as green as tropical rainforests. It's shrubbery, but it's not as dense as a typical forest. It's just got your occasional tree and bush, and it doesn't have anything crazy. We also have prairies, which are they're just grasslands. They're wide open grasslands, usually very flat, and typically in those spaces of trade winds that are going up and to the right. They're up in the they're just above the equator's center lines. As you can see, they're mostly up here. Now, Australia is a goddamn enigma to me, and I can't explain why it's a desert. Probably because it has... I don't know if it has mountains. Australia, what are you? Let's go look at Australia real quick. Hold up. Let's go look at its elevation. I'm gonna see what it looks like. Ah, I see why it's a desert now. Apparently Australia has a super high mountain range on this side, and I believe it is in the location where winds... Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Better. But it seems to be in a location where the winds are pushing this way. However, this is all mountain. It is all mountain all the time. So that means it's probably collecting a whole hell of a lot of water. As you can see here. Look how elevated this fucking thing is. All over here. That is blocking up everything. Which why it's super green here, probably. And then this is all just desert and awful. Oh, I'm sorry, Australia. And then to top it all off, it is lined with super high elevated mountains over here. So any sense of rain coming from that side is just cut off. This landmass is just a bowl of dirt. And I feel very bad for it. I'm trying to find anything else What the hell? Anything else that could help me explain Australia? Because it has, like, hardly any greenery. If you look at it, it is, like, 80% just desert. Yeah, I can't explain Australia. Other than rain gets pushed up from the north, goes this way, coats it in Pribby, and then it just completely fucks off this side of the map. That's the best I can think of. Alright, so once we start going up even higher and we start getting to the colder areas, you will start to see evergreen forests. And evergreens are essentially your pine trees. Pine trees aren't the only ones. I believe firs. Any evergreen trees that are really tall, and usually with needles. Those are our boreal evergreens. And they are typically found above prairies and are starting to mingle with the cold. Above that, you get something called tundras, and taigas specifically. Taigas, I believe, are also called boreal evergreens. Is there a difference? I don't know. I don't know if there's a difference. But you get your taigas slash boreals, and above that you get your tundras, which is very cold, very icy, but not quite full ice. It's just snowy. Think the top of Alaska, the top of North America, really, up here. As you can see, it's lining that up. And then one step above that, you get just pure ice. Because we're on our ice caps. We're on our polar ice caps. And you can see something kind of down here doing the same thing. Because of the elevation here of the mountains, you can see that a desert and arid land has formed. And you can see here, the opposite has happened. You have a forest hanging out. You have rainlands creating a lot of shrubbery. And then down here, it's just cold, cold, cold. Holy fuck, it's cold. So we're going to try and replicate this to the best of our ability. We're going to start with our deserts, and we're going to spread out and make semi-arids, shrublands, and then savannas. And then we're going to put down our trees where our tropical forests are. So as you can see here, this is definitely my desert. And then the farther I go up, the more you start to see shrublands. That's what they're called, shrublands. I'm going to move this up here so I can see. This is our reference for why mountains basically cuck the land into not getting water. Okay. I don't think I need this anymore, so I'm going to close it. So, here, I'm going to, since the water is pushing everything this way, and then this way, I'm going to set down some trees to reflect that. So, let's go find some tropical rainforest trees first. Okay, what are you? Swamp. Jungle. I think jungle is as close as I'm gonna get it. Pine. Yeah, I'm gonna use jungle. Oh, those are small. We're gonna zoom in just a bit to help this along. So, first things first, I'm gonna make this my tropical rainforest because holy hell, there is a boatload. It's not going how I want. There we go. There is a boatload of water that is pushed up, and I'm just gonna add a bit Nah, that looks dumb. Let's take that off. But this is going to be our rainforest. Look how lush and lovely and green and big it's gonna be. And that all has to do with the fact that my mountainous region is not there. In fact, this might stretch just a bit. Let's not have it too high up because it's getting closer to the cold. And rainforests do not work like that. So let's push it like this to here. And the reason I'm pushing it up to the mountain's edge is because if you look at South America, it does pretty much the same thing. It shoves itself up onto the mountain because so much water is going that way. Surprise banana kisses from Usagi! Hell yeah. Alrighty, so I'm gonna have this be my rainforest. And I'm not gonna have it go up too far high or too far down, because if I did that, it would be getting really cold. Oh no. It would either be getting too cold for the trees to survive or too hot. So something like that. Now, I'm going to line it up with... actually, let's see if there would be any other jungles, because this isn't the only jungle that can grow here. We could also probably have a bit of a rainforest here. Because remember, this is like a more tropical area. Maybe here too. The lovely tropics. Maybe not so much here, but maybe a little bit. Maybe just a little dash, a little smidgen. Maybe not even a smidgen. Alright, so that looks about consistent with how Earth does it. Let's grab some regular trees now. That's swamp. What do swamp trees look like? Eh. Not worth my time. That's jungle, palm, fall. Regular trees. Alright, let's put down some regular trees. And this is going to be our... what is it called? Seasonal. This is going to be our seasonal forest. And it's going to follow the outline of the rainforest. For the most part. Not all of them have that. But for the most part, there is a forest that follows the outline of the rainforest as such. Maybe the trees have also crossed over here. And there we go. And then we'll have this trail this. We'll do the same thing over here. Maybe I won't have it too crazy. I'll add some trees here, maybe some trees here. And then we'll do the same thing over here. We'll have this forest basically coated in a little layer of these trees. Those are going to be our seasonal forests. And then we have our savannas, but we don't really need to put anything down for those. And now we deal with... prairies, but we don't have to worry about that either. But after this, the next pure tree biome that we can really think of, well, one is there's mixed forests, and those are typically in nice wet climates, but they're not in the tropics. So I could actually plomp it here. Let's add some trees like this. Just to let people know, hey, look, it's just an assortment of trees. I'll add in a few jungle trees because this is our mixed forest. We have mixed greens in this salad. And just for good measure, I'll drop in some boreal trees. Let's have a bit of those just hanging out. Because remember, mixed. We're mixing them. One more. Swamp. Let's add some swamp. Just to show, yeah, everything's here. We have something for everyone. I'll do the same thing here. Maybe we have a bunch of tree types down here as well. As such, maybe here too. We have a mixed forest here. There we go. Lovely. And now we can start working on our boreal and our taigas. So those typically line up with this. As seen. Also, I'm going to add in some mixed forest up here. And then we're going to turn it into pure boreal. Like so. Have these kind of trees start cropping up, and then they start getting thinner as you go up. They don't have a whole lot of, they have survivability, but they don't have a whole lot of opportunity to live in pure ice biomes. That's kooky. Alright. Lovely. I'll do the same thing over here. Let's put some more boreal trees here. Maybe not as crazy as over here, because over here there is a lot of water that reaches the area aside from here. So this is going to be thinner with trees, while this is going to be absolutely brimming with trees because of how much water it's exposed to. So there we go. That's going to be my stuff. So I'm going to make this a forest island. Anything else I can do with this thing? I've added in trees. I've added in the biomes. I'm going to save it, actually. I don't trust myself. Alright, so we got the boreal evergreens. We got the seasonals. We got the tundra. We got the ice. We have our deserts. We have our prairies. I say this thing is ready to be wrapped up. Wrapped in a bow and sent away. But that is how I go about creating my planet, my world. And now that I know where everything is, I can start marking out rivers as well. There are rivers in our world, but it's really hard to see from this high up. You're not gonna see a whole lot of rivers from how, I guess, how tall all this is. But rivers typically either come from mountain springs or the sides. So I'm going to add in a line here, just for the sake of adding a line, for the time being, to help show where rivers are. Let's see here. Let me go look at some rivers. Alright, so let's say I have a river that extends through the desert here, a la Nile. And let's say it comes from No, that wouldn't work. Hold on. I'm gonna put a river from over here. So our river is going to come from the mountain. So typically, if there are rivers running through mountains and steppes and all that, because over here, remember, these are lifted up. These are actually on a higher elevation because tectonic plates have pushed them up over millions of years. So there is going to be water deposits that come down from this. This is how we get flowing rivers and waterfalls. And I'm gonna have one of my rivers start here on the mountain, and I'm gonna have it come down and empty out into the ocean. Now, this is just a really big river in what is called a basin. In fact, I'm sure you've heard the term river basin before. But also, I can't draw on top of the mountains. That's lame. Whatever. I'm going to pretend that this river is coming from the top of the mountain. Let's make the brush just a little smaller. It can't. Shit. That's okay. For the sake of the tutorial, I guess, you'll know what I mean. So, because this thing is coming down from the mountain, this is going to be our main river. And this is going to be the basin of this river. Now, occasionally, rivers will actually hit a snag and will spread out to get into the ocean from different sources of the river. And other times, there will be other little rivers coming off of the mountains because the rain has deposited water here. And it's now draining out from lakes and other crevices that the mountains are holding it from. And they will drain into the basin like this. They will follow that main river. And then there will be even more that follow it. They're even smaller, like so. So that's how you get main rivers and then like the little capillaries that attach to it. So let's say I want to show off this river, and maybe it's this that you can mostly see. At least from how far away we are. So that's typically how you could go about rivers. Now, rivers aren't a hard and fast rule. They can pretty much crease across any part of the world. Just know that occasionally they can come from the ocean. More often than not, they come from mountains that are basically dropping the water off. So wherever there's mountains, there's rivers. Either following the mountains and coming down through a series of channels, or coming out of a basin in the mountain that's a huge lake from a bunch of water deposits. Like, let's say up here, there's just a huge lake in between these mountains, like right here. And then from these mountains, the river just crosses through this lush forest. Also with rivers, the way rivers work, and this is how you get lakes as well. Let's say here's our mountain. Here it is. Here's our mountain peak. It's hanging out. And here is where the water flow is. So here's our mountain. It does this. And here's our river. Let's grab blue for it. Here's the river. Whee! It's coming into the water here. And let's say it's split off a bit. It's fractured. And then here's a few more rivers that are following it to this basin that's sunk in just a bit more. And then maybe there's a few more coming in that just kind of follow it. Like this. Something like that. This is typically where what a river basin looks like. However, if you need inspiration for rivers, or if you need to figure out how they work, you could easily Google rivers, like a Nile River, for instance. Let's go look at the Nile River. I know the Nile River is typically like it's a horizontal line, pretty much, that goes from Egypt all the way to, looks like Uganda, to Lake Victoria. Holy crap. It crosses through basically 5 countries. That is a big river. But you will notice that it does something like this. It actually doesn't go completely straight in a line. It does all these like weird little wee little loops and curves. And if you're not, if you look at it from a lot closer, you can actually see some rivers have something like this, where there's little lakes, like these little crescent moon lakes that kind of follow along. And how exactly does that get to be? So, fun fact, rivers are actually not... I was gonna say they're not a permanent stay, they're more fluid, but... I had to stop myself from using a pun. So, when a river is starting off pretty young in its development, and it's rushing down from wherever it's coming from, over time, that river will start to go, this feels better. Let's do this instead. And let's do this. And then over time, that river will do this. And then maybe the river suddenly goes, hey, let's come back this way again. Well, what happened with that one? There was a really big peak over here. Sometimes it actually gets sectioned off into a lake. Which is why you'll see these little crescent pieces running around on near rivers. So it's always a good thing to figure out the curvature of your rivers, and once you do, you just boop, 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 put a few lakes here and there where you think the river could have been at one point. That's always fun. Also, feel free to have the river split once in a while. Like, let's say here, this river is going this way, but maybe it's recently pushed into the sedimentation right here, and it's split off. Which means this piece of the river is slowly becoming a new lake. It's just over time, the water will follow this path, and this will no longer be relevant. So something like that. Rivers don't have to just be one whole stream. It can have like these little patches of islands here too. So not only do they have these little crescent moon lakes following them, but they also have these patches. Very, very lovely. I'm trying to find an example of those patches, so give me just a minute. That is a really pretty river. I'm just looking at rivers. Rivers are very lovely. Oh, here's a good example of how those patches work in between the rivers. You see how this river basically split up, and it created this little island in the middle? That's because the water found a new way to move. And who knows, maybe after a few thousand years, that patch and those two will have become one, but one of them is now separated and has become a little lake. Who knows? So that is all I can really say and really teach you about... Actually, I don't need pure ref anymore, so let me close that out. But that's all I can mostly come up with and think of for world building. Also, I don't need this river here. I can get rid of it. Also, I'm going to save my map. But yeah, that's how you make your own map. I went through every single little bit. And as you can see, it took me just a few hours. Like 3 to 4 hours. There we go. And this isn't nearly as finished as it could be. You can keep building on it if you want to. But this is good for the purpose it serves. Now that we have our planet, and we have our world, and we have our biomes, how do we go about putting down our races? Because remember, I've made a race on the channel called the Trakovish, and I made them go underground. But what about the races that don't live underground? What about the races that live up here? What causes these races to evolve a certain way? What causes ethnicities in these races? Like human ethnicities, Caucasoid, people with stronger brows, smaller noses, curly hair. What causes all these traits, and why do they evolve to be evolutionarily like this? This all happens because of the biomes our ancestors ended up taking refuge in, essentially. So, the first thing you want to do when figuring out where to put your race is to figure out where it evolved initially. So, for instance, we are very commonly, the belief and the theory commonly accepted about us is that we evolved in sub-Saharan Africa. We were an ape-like species that could climb these sub-Saharan trees. We slowly came down from the trees, and we lost hair on our bodies because of the heat, and we started walking more. So we needed a better heat distribution, or heat, what is it called? To get rid of it, I guess? And then our hair got super coily to rise the hair off the head so we don't overheat our brains, essentially. Let me get back in my seat. So that's why we are said to be from there. The jury's still out because they're arguing whether or not, I don't know, are we from Asia though, or are we from Africa? It doesn't matter. I'm not here to argue semantics about evolution. I'm just explaining what science is currently assuming. So if you're making a race, like I said, let's say it's an insect, it's an insectoid race, figure out what biome that insect is from. Daniel! Eek, 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 eek. How are you, my son? You are no son of mine. Alright, fine, I'll do squeets. Wah. Ugh! I am gonna pop my back, though. Oh, Dan, you're okay. Pat, pat. Ugh, stretches. Fine, I will crunches. But I do need to stretch my legs real quick. Ah, there I go. I'm gonna do that. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I almost forgot to squeak on that last one. There we go. I am back, and I have done my squeets. Ah! You are not new. Usagi, get him. Get his ankle. Wait, no. He likes that, that's right. Okay, I'll save the line. Hey, here's a newspaper. Thwack! But for those of you who are new, I eek indignantly at you. You don't tell me what to do. Eek. I am the father. But yeah, for those of you who are new, hi, I am Desmond Dracula, a vampire bat butler, also known as a battler. I go by he, him pronouns, and I like to draw as well as world build on Wednesdays. Guess what today is? I also play a variety of games from RPGs to roguelikes. Eee! There, happy, sated? I hope so. You make me cry. Alrighty, but yeah, when making your race and figuring out what animal you're basically evolving it from, assume where that biome is, and the biome they're most comfortable in is where they're going to be coming from. For instance, here, like I said, let's say I'm making an insectoid race. What kind of insects, though? Let me do something real quick. Let's figure out what kind of insects are from the rainforests. Now, those are very pretty insects. They're very... Okay, so army ants? Bullet ant. Oh god, fuck bullet ants. Those hurt. Bees! Bumblebees are living in there. Clearwing butterflies. Comet moth. Okay, so just for the sake of argument for now, I'm going to have my race that I'm making be insectoid and ant-like. Maybe I'll make an actual race from scratch that are like that. Eh? My music decided to fuck with me. Interesting. Well, that was weird. Ah, whatever. But yeah, let's say I'm making an ant race, and they're from the rainforest. How exactly am I going to divvy up the territories that they're in? This could be done in several ways. If we were to zoom in this map, we could find out, okay, so where are some rivers that are going to be cutting in? Let's say some rivers are here, maybe we have another river here, maybe there's another one here. We look at these natural landmarks that can divvy up the land in a way that's in a natural design. Like, let's say there's a river that comes through right in the middle, right from this mountain. Let's say it just slowly stops halfway through. The river can act as a natural border for, let's say, two warring ant peoples. Maybe they're trying to figure out what part of the land is theirs. And you stay on your side of the river, I'll stay on my side of the river. You know, something like that. That helps make up kingdom borders. Similar to that, I know biomes can also act as a border in some capacity because my bullet ants, or not my bullet ants, let's say my army ants, can't really function in the cold. No thank you, they don't want to, so up here, and let's say they need wood for survival, a lot of wood. Let's say here is the most you'll see. Thank you, Usagi. But yeah, let's say they can't handle the cold, so they're not gonna really cross through into this part of the territory. Same thing down here. They're not going to come down here either. So for the most part, my ant race kingdom is probably going to be about right here. Now, over here, there's probably going to be a lot of ants as well. But maybe there's another race over here that's taken over. Who knows? But yeah, that's how you can start divvying up kingdoms. You look at natural landmarks that would cause these kingdoms to be able to keep their land or would be subject to losing their land. Like an open plain, it's a lot easier to claim land ownership across, you know, let's say Europe and Russia, because it's a lot easier to cross over that continent. But let's say, you know, North America is trying to conquer South America. It doesn't really work the same way. You don't really get too much conflict between North and South America for very fucking obvious reasons. One, they're crossing between biomes, which is extremely hazardous all on its own, especially if you're not equipped to travel that kind of thing. But in, like I said, in Europe, there's a lot of infighting because that's a lot of homogeneity when it comes to the climate. They're pretty much just fighting in the same zone. So the same thing would happen here. They would usually want to focus primarily on taking kingdoms and land and stuff here. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. Britain. Crossing through all of that, fucking Africa. Anyway, fuck colonialism, I'm just saying. Fuck empires. Fuck the imperial dumb stuff. But if we're taking into account that, my ant race will primarily stick to the rainforest, and they will be taking on most of this area. And so those races will be making their own kingdoms there. Now let's say I have a polar bear race, for the sake of this analogy. My polar bear race is definitely going to be all up here. Let's say they evolved in this area. They will never be able to fight those ants for their rainforest. Why? One, it's a rainforest. They don't fucking care. Rainforests are hot and humid and dumb. Polar bears want to stay in the frigid-ass cold where they like it. Also, they wouldn't be able to cross over there really easily, even if they wanted to, because of this mountain range blocking them the fuck off. So, polar bears are probably going to have a really big landscape of, I guess you could say they're antsy. Eek, eek, eek. Usagi, you have betrayed me. However, I do think polar bears would be able to cross the ocean and settle here on this island as well, because the island is also very cold. And they would probably be able to chill on other islands here too. So that is how you divvy up kingdoms, especially when you're concerning yourself with multiple races, because we just have one race here to deal with, humans. It's ethnicities that we have to look for with humans, and you did never promise to stop. It just, puns hurt. Puns hurt me. Oh, let me pop my back here. There we go. But yeah, now you know where to plop your kingdoms, and with that, you can plop your capitals, usually near rich resource areas. This is specifically like rivers, shorelines, mountains where lakes are located. You want to find a water source. For one, capitals, and two, just any settlement in general. Which is why you see a lot of shorelines, as well as a lot of rivers being inhabited. So yeah, that is the basis of how to do it. There it is. I'm sorry it hurts, but when I see a pun opportunity, I take it. You know what? That's valid, Usagi. You're allowed. But yeah, I say we're done. We're done with our planet, and we're done with the concept of where we could plop down our races. Now, I'm gonna save this, because I want to show you guys something. So let's save the actual file real quick. There we go. And now I'm going to save it as an image. Alright. And now we're going to go somewhere called Planet Maker. Now, Planet Maker is a website that I like to mess around with, and it lets you load in files onto a planet. So this is Earth, as you can tell. However, I'm going to add in a custom texture. So we're going to pull in my new map right here, and I'm going to add it as a custom texture. So if you want to see what I did there, I pulled it in, I dropped the file right here, or you could just choose the file through the upload, and then you put it on Surface, like this. And the website is called planetmaker.apoapsys.com. But just look up Planet Maker and you'll find it. And once you make sure your file is in the Surface, you're going to want to go in and click Custom. and it should show you your texture. I don't know why it's not showing me my texture, actually. Let me fix it. Let me see if I can't fix that. Alright, so set custom textures. Let me do that again. I'm going to drop in my file, and I'm going to put it as the surface. Do I have to do everything? Like my normals? I'm just going to put it on everything, just to hope it works. And now we're going to go to surface texture, and we're going to go to custom. What the hell? Oh! There it is! Oh, what the hell, it's so shiny. Interesting. Let me see if I can't fix that. Why is it so shiny? Oh, wait. I think I know why. Nope, that's not it. Is it because of the specular? Is it because of the normals? Okay, it was because of the normals. But there we go! There's my map. Disco, anyone? Hi, non-binary! How you doing? Okay. Okay, so, as you can see, let's scoot this. Where is it? Okay, so here's the main continent that I showed you guys, where the desert is. As you can see, the sun is hitting it pretty hard. And then, remember when I made my Antarctica? Look at it. There it is. It is now a part of that piece. But look at that. This is my planet. This is my world. Also, there's the northern peak. You can see some of the snow. But let's do this. Nope, that's the wrong button. Let's do this. There we go. Con, hello! I see the fox speaking. Alright, where is my sun? Sunlight direction. So, here's the sun. As you can see, it can pretty much go wherever you direct it to. So we're currently looking at the main continent, so now we're going to move on to the other side of the planet, and we can look at this continent. And there you can see my rainforest, my desert, my steppe, my other forest. You can see the little river line I made. And then if we scroll over here, and we move the sunlight, we can see that this is where I put my ocean, my plate, my ocean plate. So there we go. That's how you make your own planet. And you can play around with this and its settings. You can see the mountain ranges, the basin, remember the basin. And if you want to push this out a bit more, you can. It's always going to look like that a little bit, the textures. Medic, hello! How are you? Precious friends. Ooh, and Earth. Actually, this is a map that we made in Incarnate. We created this map, and I'm currently showing it off in a program called Planet Maker. Yeah, you can see there, that's the river. And there's that river I drew. Owa, owa! But yeah, that's what you can do, especially if you want to get, like, pictures of your planet. You could definitely set it up like this. You'd be like, okay, I'm going to have the sun right here. I'm going to tilt it here, and I'm going to take a picture. Also, we can see what it looks like on its axial tilt. So, currently it's on a 0 axis. So let me Make sure it's there. And then because it's on I believe a 15-degree axis, it would turn like this. It would be to about here. And the planet would rotate like this. Because it's on that 15-degree axis. Like so. Let's see, what else can I do in this program? Lightning type, directional, point. I'm not gonna mess with that. Enable shadows. I don't think I need to. You can also add moons if you want. Where's my moon? Hold on. Let me back out for... Aha! See, there's a little moon. Let's find our sunlight so we can see the moon. Oh, that's fucking with me. There's our moon. Boop. It's hiding the planet now, but why can't I see it? Your moon is in your hair, silly. You're right. I meant for the planet. I cannot find the moon. Wonder why it's fucking up like that. It shouldn't be doing that. Alright, I'm gonna actually delete the moon real quick, because I can't figure out how to fix it. Alright, add another moon. There you are, you cutie pie. How do I deal with you? Do I need a texture from my moon? Oh, I can change the orbit position. Yeah, the moon's hard to see, and that's upsetting. But, yeah, you get it. I think it might just be my, Bat Goes Mad with Power deletes moon. Delete. Yeah, I think it's because I'm using Opera, and I don't know if Planet Maker can work with Opera very well. I think that's why I'm having some texture issues, but, that's completely fine. I accept it. I would much rather use Opera and have some texture issues. Sorry. Guess I need to make some moonification. Ooh, the urge. The masculine urge to ban Usagi for puns. I'm gonna finish off my Epi Juice. Once again, Epi Juice is not a sippy redeem, it's just my own personal nom, but I am gonna take an illegal sip. You didn't prove it. You can't prove anything. But yeah, this is how you upload your planet, essentially. And then you can add in as many moons as you want, you can move them. I believe you can color them as well, and you can even add extra... Oh, a snack too! Oh, thank you, Medic. But I regret thanking you. No, I'm just kidding. Hi, Medic. I heard you're new. Fine. You know what? Fine. Humph. Hi, I am Desmond Dracula, a vampire bat butler, also known as a battler. Thank you, Usagi. I lost my train of thought because I got sad. I'm Desmond Dracula, vampire bat butler, also known as a battler. I go by he, him pronouns, and I like to draw, as well as world build on Wednesdays. It is Wednesday, my dudes, so we are world building. I also play a variety of games from RPGs to roguelikes. Whee! There you go, Medic. And thank you, Usagi, for nomming their ankles a little bit. If you ban me, who's gonna bite the ankles? That's true. I'd always bring you back, but it's the principle of the matter. Alright, so I don't need this anymore. And this is pretty much all the notes that I've made for my planet. And I want to call it done. I'm pretty much done. Oh, okay, so since I've pretty much finished this, we can just go over here for a minute. We can go to just chatting. Let's have some just chatting moments. Let me actually change it. Yeah, just chatting. There we go. Alright, so I wanted to talk to you guys about my Twitter thingy that I announced. Sometime last night. And I can pull it up for you guys now and share it to you guys so you can see what I made. Where is it? Aha, here it is. Okay, so this is a Twitter post I made yesterday. Boop. And I should probably make it on its own little, like, rotation for stream elements, but that has a Google form for you guys to sign if you are interested in joining me either next week or a week from then, like next week or 2 weeks from now, for making and fleshing out your own races. It's official, I have made it. And until then, for world building, I'm probably just going to work on my favorite aspects of world building, such as clothing and language. And I'm just going to play around with it until I get some guests on. So that's where world building is going to be going. Now, I'm not going to completely abandon making my own custom races, and I have thought about making a more generalized tutorial rather than me sitting here going into madness, slipping into the odd hours of the afternoon, foaming at the mouth about races. But I'd have to make like a PowerPoint or like a slideshow or something. That would be planning that I don't feel like doing. Not yet, at least. So, for the first 2 weeks, I'm going to be just hanging out, chilling, working on my favorite aspects of world building, and also probably throwing a few ideas at you guys. Like, what race would you want me to do next? Or do you want me to generalize it and make it more tutorial-based? Because while watching someone create their own race in and of itself is both inspiring and helps you figure out what you're doing, it's always good to just get the inner working and understanding of how things are being looked at. And I want to do that. I think that'd be really fun too. But I'm actually probably going to call it here. I'm also going to get a little stretch. But I know it's a little early, and I know I normally don't end stream this early, but there's not really much I can cover unless you guys just want to sit here and chat about what kind of stuff you would want to see me do. Oh, all good. And the medic. Mwah. Medic, did you know you're awesome and you're cool and you're really pretty to draw? We want agrees. We want... Yeah, see, he's nodding, he agrees. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah. You're very good. You're very sweet. Alright, so. Yeah, I'm probably gonna call it. It's a little quiet today. It's nice and calm. And I don't have anything else planned. So what I'm probably gonna do is work on a slideshow or something. So I can go over a proper tutorial on how to world build stuff. And use the Trakovish as well as other races that I personally like as examples. Because I think that could help. And then I can start making more custom races for you guys, while also working with guest appearances of people, from the forms that I've picked. Now, however many times said guest, like the same person is going to join, is entirely up to them. It just depends on what they want to do. Because I'm not gonna say, no, you can only do it one time, or no, you have to stay forever. That's rude either way. So I'll have it guest by guest basis. Who wants to stay for more than one and who doesn't? But thank you guys for sitting here and watching me make my own planet. That's really fun. But I say it is time to chill, calm, and raid. So who are we dropping in on? You know what? I haven't raided this cutie pie in a long time, if at all. So let's go drop in on Obby. Obby is playing Minecraft, unless he's... Uh-oh, wait. Is he getting done? I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if he's finishing up or not. I'm now nervous, but I'm gonna dump everyone over there. Let's go look at the cute Obby. I can't tell. Let's turn him up for a second so I can listen to him. Actually, I'm just gonna straight up ask. Nah, I won't straight up ask. I'll just surprise him. Let's go raid him. He is currently playing Minecraft Hardcore, apparently. And he's really excited about it, because I guess he's doing really well. So, this is for you guys to spam at him. This is my little raid message. But if you do not have my emotes, that is okay. You can use this. Let him know that it's a bat rave. Mebic. There we go. Ugh. Yeah, let's go surprise a cute little space boy. I'm also gonna turn on my Endwalker music, because Endwalker is pretty and calming. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out today. And hopefully I didn't confuse anyone too much with the whole tectonic plate things and the wind direction stuff. It's just how I typically go about making a world. And it's the best way to do it. So, yeah. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow I actually have a collab. I have a collab with Himiko and Dan and Leon. We're all going to be streaming, and we're all going to be playing SCP multiplayer. So look out for that. It will be starting at noon, so I'll be doing stuff for a couple of hours prior to that. But until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye!